Then the last mile-and-a-half race coming up at Charlotte Motor Speedway on the 23rd of May, and then we are done with mile-and-a-half racing in 2025.
Difficult to believe, but we are moving right through the schedule. Fans continue to file into the Kansas Speedway. It's always a festive atmosphere here, Mike. The Midway's always hopping right out behind the grandstand. Same on the infield. You and I spent some time there this afternoon. Always music blasting and folks gathered around just having a good time.
They are having a blast. Of course, it's a very fun weekend whenever we come to the Kansas Speedway. Of course, the marquee event tomorrow, the Advent Health 400 for the NASCAR Cup Series. Right now, our attention is on the tough trucks of NASCAR and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We are set to go. Everybody is graded trackside. Everybody is poised and in position. So let's go trackside for pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise as you're able. Remove your hats, and veterans render a hand salute as the Nevada High School Junior ROTC Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Here to offer tonight's invocation, please welcome from the Chief Ministry Office for Unconventional Business Network, Pastor Mike Willich.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful weather you brought to us tonight. Thank you for this beautiful track, the racers, their teams, those behind the scenes, and these amazing fans. Father, we ask that you would watch over everyone on and off the track, grant them safety and sportsmanship. And God, would you please grant us tonight some entertainment and unity. It's in the mighty name of Jesus that all God's race fans said, amen and amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome Connection Point Church.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there, was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, the
The men and women of Connection Point Church with our national anthem as we draw closer to the start.
NASCAR Live Race Day has been brought to you by Toyota. For the latest Toyota Gazoo racing information, visit tgrna.com.
Where do you experience the power of the human spirit? At Advent Health, we see the resilience and uncommon compassion of the human spirit at work every day in our dedicated clinical and non-clinical team members. That's why we're ready to care for you with top-tier benefits, including career development, student loan support, paid parental leave, and much more. Answer your calling and join our growing team in Kansas and beyond. Apply today at answeryourcalling.com.
Get ready! The third annual NASCAR Day Give-a-thon is just days away. Join us on May 13th to support hundreds of nonprofit organizations across the country to raise much-needed funds for their missions. When you give to the NASCAR Day Give-a-thon, you will be eligible for some special incentive prizes and matching donation opportunities to make the most of your gift. Visit NASCARDayGiveathon.org and learn how you can join us. That's NASCARDayGiveathon.org.
The command to fire the engines coming up from Kansas Speedway. This is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
You've never been one to idly watch someone else do something for you. There's pride in self-reliance, in working with your hands, in harnessing the power of an E3 spark plug with Diamond Fire technology, yielding better engine performance. You have a choice to make. Take control of your ride, of your life, or be the passenger princess of it. Visit e3sparkplugs.com to put the power in your hands.
Do you have an unused car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or RV taking up space? Put it to good use by donating it to the NASCAR Foundation. Proceeds help fund medical resources for children in our racing community. Your wheels can heal. Call 844-NASCAR-9 and we'll come tow away your vehicle for free. The process is quick and your gift is tax deductible. Call 844-NASCAR-9 to donate your vehicle to the NASCAR Foundation today. Your donation will help our children survive and thrive.
Live on the NASCAR Racing Network. It's the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Let's get a big thumbs up. Get ready to rock and roll past the race cars today, pal. Go boys, let's execute. Have a good day.
Today, the Heart of Healthcare 200 from Kansas Speedway. Brought to you by Advent Health. Answer your calling and join the Advent Health team. Apply today at answeryourcalling.com. By Craftsman. Runs long, works great, won't slow you down. The Craftsman V20 brushless RP lineup, built for the backyard and beyond. See craftsman.com for details. By Toyota. For the latest Toyota Gazoo racing information, visit tgrna.com. And by Sunoco. From NASCAR to your car, Sunoco fuels peak performance.
Drivers have climbed aboard their machines down trackside on the pit lane. Pre-race ceremonies have wrapped up. All that remains now is the command to start the engines and get things going here tonight in the Heart of Healthcare 200 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. NASCAR Racing Network, glad to have you on board, Mike, for what is going to be a fun, no doubt, Saturday night of racing.
It is. You've got winners of obviously many backgrounds of racing experiences over the course of the years. Corey Heim, though, is the one that really impresses the most. When he comes into this race tonight, he's looking for his third consecutive Kansas win, his fourth win of the year. He is on the very short list to win tonight. The question is, what message has that been sent all week to everybody else in that garage that's lined up on that pit lane right now that potentially could give him a run for his money? He's impressed us so far this year, and we're braced for more of Heim time tonight.
In fact, maybe the first shot across the bow this evening came from Jake Garcia, who did edge Corey Heim for the pole position here tonight. And again, we're just about set to get things started. Glad to have you with us on a Saturday night as we will go racing here this evening in the heart of America at the Kansas Speedway here in Kansas City, Kansas. Been a beautiful day, turning into a fantastic evening to go racing as we once again head trackside. Time now to get the command.
Kansas Speedway, give a big NASCAR welcome to Dr. Michelle Dew. By day, she is the medical director of the Women's Heart Care Program at Advent Health Shawnee Mission. But today, she is here to say the most famous words in motorsports. Take it away, Dr. Michelle Dew.
Drivers, start your engines. Woo!
A field of 31 comes to life. We are getting ready for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and their journey around the mile-and-a-half Kansas Speedway.
Get ready. The third annual NASCAR Day Give-a-thon is just days away. Join us on May 13th to support hundreds of nonprofit organizations across the country to raise much-needed funds for their missions. When you give to the NASCAR Day Give-a-thon, you will be eligible for some special incentive prizes and matching donation opportunities to make the most of your gift. Visit NASCARDayGiveathon.org and learn how you can join us. That's NASCARDayGiveathon.org.
NASCAR fans, get ready to feel the rush. The official NASCAR Tracks app is your ultimate race day companion. From managing your event tickets to navigating with wayfinding maps, event schedules, and facility info, it's got everything you need to make your experience unforgettable.
Ready, green flag, green
Bring
flag.
your headphones and dive into the action like never before with live scanner access.
Got a race to win, my man.
Listen in on driver and team communications at select NASCAR Tracks. Download NASCAR Tracks now in the Apple App Store or Google Play.
From Kansas Speedway, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
For motorsports podcasts you won't find anywhere else, check out the Motor Racing Network's lineup of exclusive podcasts. MRN Classic Races, Junior's Journey, The Many Hats of Jack Roush, Richard Petty, Road to Royalty, 50 Years of MRN, Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career, and the Tough Trucks of NASCAR. Find these and more MRN exclusive podcasts on podcast providers and MRN.com.
Local radio brings people together like never before.
It's a beautiful hometown weekend out there. We've got
your local stations keep you informed and involved with music, talk shows, and real-time news updates you can trust. We are live and local. We are America's broadcasters, connecting you to what matters most. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress to support your local radio stations.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Now, here's the starting lineup.
Morgan Baird will start shotgun tonight. Morgan will roll off in the 31st position. Frankie Muniz will start 30th. Nathan Bird will roll off in 29th with Spencer Boyd in 28th. Cody Dennison is your 27th starter. Tony Breidinger will start in 26th. Matt Crafton will roll off tonight in 25th with Brandon Jones in 24th. Luke Baldwin will start 23rd. Daniel Hemrick 22nd. And Jack Wood starts tonight in 21st.
Field rolling off the pit lane to take the first of their parade and pace laps. The 20th starter, that'll be rookie driver Connor Mozak with 19th starter Stuart Friesen. Rolling off 18th, Matt Mills. Bailey Curry goes 17th. Lane Riggs is the 16th starter with Grant Enfinger starting from 15th. Rookie Andres Perez starts from the 14th spot. Chandler Smith will go from 13th. Tyler Ankrum starts 12th. William Byron qualified in 11th, but again, as we heard earlier, he will have to drop to the back of the field after changing a radiator in that truck.
Gio Ruggiero will start in the 10th position with Tanner Gray in 9th. Dawson Sutton will start in 8th. Caden Honeycutt in 7th. Raja Caruth will start tonight in 6th with Ben Rhodes in 5th. Carson Hocevar will start 4th. Ty Majeski in 3rd. Corey Heim will start on the outside of the front row. And Jake Garcia will lead the field to the green flag after qualifying with a time of 30.742 seconds at a speed of 175.655 miles per hour.
That is Mike Bagley. We've heard from Todd Gordon, also available have heard from Steve Post and Jason Toy. My name is Kurt Becker. Time now to bring in the voices of the gentlemen who will call the action in the corners this evening for the NASCAR Racing Network, positioned at the south end of the racetrack in Turn 2, out of Barry, Vermont, Dave Moody.
Thank you, Kurt Becker. Good evening once again, everybody. Turns 1 and 2 here at the Kansas Speedway. The variable degree banking is in play. 17 degrees at the bottom of the racetrack, 18, 19, escalating up to a full 20 degrees on the extreme outside lane, snuggled up next to the safer barrier. When we first came here to Kansas a number of years ago, it was a freight train around the bottom. The low lane was the fast lane, but over time, this track has come of age. Every inch of asphalt will be raced early and often here tonight. One other thing to keep in mind, sunshine and temperature. As the sun begins to dip toward the horizon here in the next hour or so, the shadows will lengthen. The front stretch is already in shadow. By the time we're done tonight, we'll be full darkness, but as those shadows creep across turns 1 and 2, they will change the handling for these trucks. Lots to watch. We'll do it from high atop the Play On Kansas Lottery billboard here in Turn 2 at Kansas Speedway. Now let's go to the other end of the property, Marlboro, New Jersey's Tim Catalfano.
Thank you very much, Dave Mooney. Good evening, everyone, here in Turns 3 and 4. And as Dave was talking about, it's all about the progressive banking on this end of the speedway as well. One lap, a driver will go into Turn 3 running the bottom of the racetrack against the white line. The next lap, they come into the corner, they may run the middle, and then the lap after that, they may be right up against the white safer barrier that lines this 1.5-mile speedway. It puts on terrific racing. It's one of the reasons why the drivers love coming here and the fans love watching races at Kansas Speedway, and I'll cover it all here in Turns 3 and 4 next to the Ally billboard.
And, of course, the white walls that Tim refers to have been blackened up just a tad with NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying earlier today. A testament to the challenge of this racetrack. Here comes the field down pit road. They're setting their tachometers right now. We'll go under the green flag shortly. That affords us the opportunity for one more trip down the pit lane for some late-breaking stories and updates. First to Steve Post.
During our pre-race coverage, Jason Toy talked with Dawson Sutton. He's the 19-year-old from Lebanon, Tennessee. Today is only his 16th Truck Series start. Had the chance earlier today to talk to Chad Kendrick. Chad is his crew chief. Chad has 334 starts in this series and a 7-time winner. And he talked about Dawson having so much to learn, but the one key that they've done is Dawson has finished every race this year. That not only helps the driver get a lot of laps and get a lot of experience, but it also helps the teams make the trucks better. So looking forward to this race in Kansas, as Jason mentioned when he talked to him. 5th place here last fall, and this is his first return trip to a track where they've had such a good day. We'll see what happens with Dawson Sutton here this afternoon. Jason Toy?
Steve Post, one of the big challenges here at the Kansas Speedway is trying to get onto pit road. It's not necessarily getting off pit road, it's getting onto it, because it comes upon you a little bit later than what you have on normal racetracks. Almost through to the exit of turn 4 is when you start to see the turn in for the pit lane. Frankie Muniz earlier today was trying to practice getting on off pit road. He missed it. Even champion William Byron in the NASCAR Cup Series earlier today, he was practicing the same thing, trying to get on pit road and get all 4 tires to the left of the orange box, which sits on the outside of the entrance of the pit lane. It is always a challenge to try to get the max that you can here, especially when we could see green flag pit stops and the final stage here today. That could be key, getting on pit lane and not causing any mistakes.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Steve. Here comes the field off turn number 4 behind the pace car. Now getting the signal, one more lap, and we'll get things started here this evening in the heart of Healthcare 200. You know, Mike, one thing that Dave Moody mentioned, he talked about the sunshine and how this race will likely wrap up with the sun having dipped over the horizon. This race starting about an hour earlier than it did 1 year ago, so it will be interesting to see how that might affect some of the setups and such with the truck, because they're going to be dealing with some portions of the racetrack already in sunshine and some in shade.
That's a great point. Here's something else to consider. This will be a very fast race. Last year's races for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, an hour 30:52 in the spring and an hour 35:50 in the fall. So this race is only 134 laps. There's not a lot of time to get the job done if you're starting towards the back of the pack. We'll see how that affects what drivers do, when they do it, and what the teams also do on the pit lane. 5 drivers have never made a start here in the Craftsman Truck Series. Gio Ruggiero, Morgan Bear, Luke Baldwin, and Andres Perez de Lara. Cody Dennison add to that list, who is just joining the field after spending an extended period of time on pit road. That truck is fired up, and Cody will join the tail end of the field as we are half a lap from going under the green flag.
Back the field right now, working its way up the back straightaway. It's been a busy weekend of racing here already. Brendan Butterbean Queen was the winner last night here at Kansas in the ARCA Menard Series. We've got the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on tap, just getting ready for the green flag. And don't forget, tomorrow, the Motor Racing Network will have live coverage of the Advent Health 400 for the NASCAR Cup Series. Our pre-race coverage begins at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, Mike Bagley will be your host, and he will take us all the way to the green flag. Right now, the field lines up 31 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series machines working through turn number 4, waiting for the pace car to make the left-handed turn and head down pit road to call the start of tonight's race. Out of Milford, Delaware, Mike Bagley.
First stage will be 30 laps here tonight. 134 will make up the distance. 201 miles in the heart of Healthcare 200. Pace car is on the pit lane. The field is inching closer to the start-finish line. We're underway, and a lot of drivers spinning tires on the initial start. Jake Garcia, when he gassed up, darted to the apron, brings the truck back onto the racing surface as the scramble begins to 1.
They're thinking 3 wide to the inside of the racetrack. Oh, and they're banging up. Got a couple of trucks that are in the wall in the first turn. Tyler Ankrum gets a big piece of the safer barrier, but everybody keeps it pointed to the backstretch.
It's a big mess, but they sorted out on the back straightaway into turn number 3 for the first time. They are wheel to wheel for the race lead. Corey Heim on the outside zooms around Jake Garcia.
Ty Majeski got caught up in the incident that Dave described over in turn number 2 on the opening lap. It'll be Corey Heim who leads lap 1. Dave, rather shocking, we got through that without a caution.
Yeah, it's a bit of a miracle. Ty Majeski, they jammed up in front of him. He went 3 wide to the bottom, and then they just ran out of room. Still a problem for Dawson Sutton. He's got a tire rub exiting turn 2.
Further up, the battle for second is on as Carson Hocevar has chased down the machine of Jake Garcia. He'll go high in turn number 3. Check that. That's Rajah Caruth hiding on the outside.
Dawson Sutton fighting a tire rub with damage on his truck. Ty Majeski has come down pit road. The crew has tended to him, all the while taking the lead, and pulling away is one Corey Heim.
They are 3 wide back around the number 4 position. Diving down to the bottom, Caden Honeycutt. He'll pass 2 in turn 2. Moves to the number 4 spot.
Caden Honeycutt takes the 4th spot, but now here comes Carson Hocevar in his Chevrolet Silverado. Pulls alongside of Caden in turn 3. Will take the spot away in turn 4.
Further ahead, Rajah Caruth climbs the banking in turn number 4. Tries to get alongside of Jake Garcia, who cuts down to the apron. That is the door-to-door battle for second, heading back to turn 1.
Runner-up spot is up for grabs. They are 2 by 2. Garcia hugs the white line at the bottom of the racetrack. Rajah Caruth lets it ride the outside.
Trouble off turn number 4. It is the truck of Dawson Sutton, who tries to get onto the pit lane, spins out, and brings out the first caution flag of the evening. Dawson had a tire rub and obviously a tire going down, spun at the entrance of pit road, and that will put us under our first caution flag of the evening.
Corey Heim had already built up a lead of nearly a full second in the opening 3 laps before that caution was unfurled.
Hey, I hear you think podcasts are all about true crime, huh? Well, wise guy, the iHeartRadio app's got all kinds of podcasts. We got stuff you should know and stuff they don't want you to know. We got Bobby Bones, Big Boy, and Lou Later. We got SpongeBob Binge Pants and Exotic Erotic Story Time. We got Doughboys, 2 Dudes in the Kitchen, Green Eggs and Dan. Hey, we got Elf Quest. We got podcasts for everything on the iHeartRadio app for free. If you don't download that, well, that's not just a true crime, my friend. That's criminal.
Get ready. The 3rd annual NASCAR Day Give-a-thon is just days away. Join us on May 13th to support hundreds of nonprofit organizations across the country to raise much-needed funds for their missions. When you give to the NASCAR Day Give-a-thon, you will be eligible for some special incentive prizes and matching donation opportunities to make the most of your gift. Visit NASCARDayGiveathon.org and learn how you can join us. That's NASCARDayGiveathon.org.
Working under the caution flag for the first time here this evening. We're just 4 laps into tonight's race. The Heart of Healthcare 200. Pit road is open. The field comes working by at the bottom of turns 3 and 4. Already, Mike, problems for a couple of drivers here early on.
Ty Majeski had a problem on the initial start after it was a mad scramble going into the corner. He's had some challenges. Here comes the truck of Carson Hocevar onto the pit lane. Dawson Sutton had damage and spun. Tyler Ankrum is coming onto the pit lane right now. Some perhaps maybe unscheduled pit stops or an opportunity to review the truck to make sure it doesn't have any damage. Let's cover the Hocevar stop and the Ankrum stops.
Tyler Hocevar. Let's try Carson Hocevar. They've got damage on the left rear of that truck, and they're working. It almost looks like they're working more on the wheel. Now they're pulling the fender off from it, so a little damage there. Looking forward to Tyler Ankrum. He was part of that 4-wide situation that Dave Moody talked about. He got up into the safer barrier. There's damage on the right side of that truck and damage on the left front where he got contact from another one of the trucks. So Mark Hillman, the crew chief, decides to bring it down, and they're working, massaging a little bit on the left front of that Chevy pickup truck. Jason Toy?
You know, we talked to Ty Majeski before the race about trying to get that momentum continued on for the top 10 last week at Texas. Well, obviously off to a rough start, making contact with the wall over in front of Dave Moody in turn number 1 and 2. Heavy damage on the right side. They came in, put the right side tires on, went back out, and as the caution was coming out, something is cutting the right front tire again. So they're going to lose another right front. They went underneath the wheel well this time to make sure the clearance is there, but they got the sawzalls out trying to cut some sheet metal away to get away from that right front tire for Ty Majeski.
Already a lot of activity on pit road with just 5 laps complete. From Kansas Speedway, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Every time the siren sounds or lights flash, someone's life is on the line. At Wheelan Engineering, we know first responders carry that weight every day. That's why for over 70 years, we've led the emergency warning industry, designing and manufacturing the lights, sirens, and safety systems they trust right here in America. Because when the mission is critical, there's no room for second best. Wheelan Engineering, trusted to protect first responders.
Available on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
You're not going to want to miss tonight's county fair. I'm going to be...
We are your window to your community.
Did you see the last 5 minutes of that football game last night?
Oh, man, I saw the whole thing.
And a lifeline to keep you safe when danger is near.
Everybody who is listening needs to take cover as soon as they can. This is one of the biggest storms.
We are live and local. We are America's broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress you depend on your local radio stations.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Welcome back to Kansas, where Ty Majeski will be the recipient of the free pass, so that will put him back onto the lead lap. He had been on and off and on the pit lane again, but again, he does get the free pass. We are just 6 laps complete. Corey Heim, the leader, as we wrap up the opening caution of the race.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the NASCAR Racing Network. NASCAR Racing Network is back at the Kansas Speedway with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We are 6 laps in to the Heart of Healthcare 200. Mike Bagley alongside Kurt Becker and Todd Gordon, Dave Moody, Tim Catalfamo in the corner, Steve Post and Jason Toy on the pit lane and in the garage areas. Rather halting start here to the proceedings tonight. First caution flag came out at lap 3 as Dawson Sutton spun to the entrance of pit road after damage on the initial start. Field got stacked up off the end of the front straightaway after taking the green flag. Dawson Sutton got damaged. Ty Majeski got damaged. Tyler Ankrum has gotten damage as well. All of those trucks have been on the pit lane. Some are coming back for more attention. Matter of fact, Sutton, Ankrum, and Majeski, all 3 coming back as the field gets the 1-to-go signal. Corey Heim is the leader. Rajah Caruth It is the Garcia, Honeycutt, and Chandler Smith trucks rounding out the top 5 as we're getting ready to put the green flag back in the air.
Todd Gordon, how about it? We're going to see a longer stretch of green flag racing this time.
That wasn't too long of a stretch. So, yeah, I think we will see a longer stretch here. I think this one's going to be longer than the last one. But, yeah, I think, just it got jumbled up there on the start. We saw 4 wide into turn 1. Kind of stacked up to start with. Ty Majeski was in a position. Carson Hocevar came down. Little left rear contact to the right front of Ty Majeski. Ty's back on pit road, continuing to work on that thing, trying to figure out what's going on.
We talk about the composite bodies of the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. These metal bodies of the trucks are not as forgiving as the others, and we've already seen some put through their paces. Dawson Sutton still on the pit lane. Ankrum and Majeski will rejoin the field. You've got Sutton already 1 lap down. Ty Majeski just got the wave around and will restart on the tail end of the lead lap as the green flag will fly at lap number 8.
They come now working their way, the field does, through turns 3 and 4. Again, tonight's race, the second in a stretch of 6 consecutive weekends of racing for this NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Off turn number 4, the pace car heads to pit road. At the front of the field, you've got Corey Heim, who lines up to the inside. Rajah Caruth to the outside, looking for the green flag. Here's the field down to the line. The green flag is in the air. Corey Heim gets a good restart. He scoots out in front of the field, works his way below the white line, and heads to turn 1.
Slides down momentarily onto the apron to block an inside charge. They're 3 wide again behind him. Diving down to the bottom of the racetrack. Now sliding up. Chandler Smith goes all the way to second.
Chandler Smith will go to second. They're 3 wide for third. Halfway down the back straightaway, that's Rajah Caruth in the middle, getting shuffled by the time they get back to the corner. Caden Honeycutt now goes to third. Grant Enfinger fourth. They're 4 wide, middle of the pack out of 4.
Update on Ty Majeski. He's just been held a lap by NASCAR for fueling twice under that caution flag. He is back on the racetrack as Corey Heim leads him back to the corner.
A couple of truck lengths in hand now as he leads Chandler Smith into the banking. Both of them will go to the bottom in turns 1 and 2. Riding topside, the third place machine of Honeycutt.
Caden Honeycutt in his black and white pickup runs third right now. 3 truck lengths behind him. In fourth is Grant Enfinger, and Rajah Caruth complete the top 5 as they work their way through 3 and 4. 1 truck up in the outside wall. That's Luke Baldwin scraping it all the way through the corner.
He will continue to ride the high lane. He'll work his way off of it, drops down at the head of pit road, and we do remain under the green flag. The leader back to turn 2.
Challenge is on for the number 2 position. Caden Honeycutt has gone to the whip early in this one. He drives to the inside. Wheel-to-wheel battle now for the number 2 spot.
They remain side by side. Chandler Smith has the advantage this time into turn number 3. Smith will go to the outside wall. Now here comes Honeycutt down to the bottom, fighting for second.
Caden Honeycutt digging hard to the bottom of the racetrack, just trying to maintain a quarter panel up alongside Chandler Smith, and he'll do it. They're wheel-to-wheel for second. You got Enfinger and Caruth lined up behind him as they race to the corner.
They've got the best seats in the house to this side-by-side battle that's now gone nearly a lap and a half with no decision. Honeycutt by a nose. Back to the outside comes Smith.
And as this battle continues for second, Corey Heim continues to stretch his lead out on the rest of the field. Through turns 3 and 4, Heim leads by 10 truck lengths.
Already he has stretched the lead out to nearly a full second. Corey Heim has, just in the 3 laps or so since the restart. He has just put lap number 12 on the board, well in front as he goes to turn 1.
The battle for second now has been settled in favor of Chandler Smith. He holds on to the number 2 position. Honeycutt falls back into the 3rd spot. 4th right now off turn 2 is Grant Enfinger.
And behind Enfinger you have Rajah Caruth, who is starting to feel a little bit of heat from the Tanner Gray truck. Gray pulls up right behind Caruth going into turn number 3, goes down to the bottom and runs side by side.
They will race wheel to wheel off the corner, but Rajah will hold the outside line. He'll maintain the momentum and he'll maintain the spot. Further back, William Byron, after falling to the tail end of the field for replacing a radiator, has worked his way up through the field, and he's right now up to 12th, Dave.
He's slicing and dicing, Mike, no doubt about it, but he's been very methodical, very cautious. He knows he's got plenty of time, riding right now right behind the Daniel Hemrick machine, headed for 3.
William Byron goes into turn number 3 in the tire tracks of Daniel Hemrick, right up against the safer barrier.
Here's Hemrick trying to hang on to the 11th position. position. He has to scoot up to the high side of the racetrack, shuts off the lane there. William Byron will regroup as they move back across start-finish, head back to turn 1.
Chandler Smith running alone in the second spot now. And Tim Catalfamo, he may actually be in to reel in the leader.
He is indeed, Dave. In fact, he's cut the deficit in half to the front bumper of Corey Heim. Heim into turn number 3, leads by 7 truck lengths over Chandler Smith.
Off the corner, the leaders come back to the line. Heim, Smith, and Caden Honeycutt. Here they come across the start-finish line to put lap 15 on the board. Watching Lane Riggs. He's trying to get around the gray truck. Matter of fact, he'll open up the inside line off the end of the front straightaway.
Dives to the bottom on entry into turn number 1. Has a good head of momentum. He will slide underneath Tanner Gray and take over position 6.
As Riggs now moves in front of Tanner Gray, the next truck in front for Lane Riggs will be Raja Caruth, who currently holds down the 5th position. 1 spot ahead of Caruth is Grant Enfinger.
Carson Hocevar penalized in the opening laps under the caution flag because his crew came over the wall too soon. Since the restart, Dave, Hocevar has picked up 11 positions. He's up to 14th, one of the drivers who's been on the move.
He's got a really good race truck. Got a little bit of a ding or a dent in that opening lap skirmish, but he's making progress right now. Battle for second is beginning to heat up again.
Chandler Smith, starting to feel the heat from Caden Honeycutt. Honeycutt only 1 truck length behind Chandler Smith out of 4.
That would be the race for second. 1.1 seconds behind race leader Corey Heim.
There will always be more leaves, weeds, and yard debris. And when they show up, tackle yard cleanup with the Craftsman V20 brushless RP outdoor lineup. Delivering more runtime and better performance, the Craftsman V20 brushless RP lineup of outdoor products will help you cut, trim, and blow through whatever your yard throws at you. Your grass, no problem. Overgrown hedges, not anymore. A neighbor who won't stop distracting you with weather talk? Well, you're on your own there. But for everything else, head to Craftsman.com. Craftsman, build on. See Craftsman.com for details.
Every hero's story has a humble beginning. Every legend had to earn their stripes. Every superstar had a dream.
It's been a fairy tale season.
Every home track is the start of something special.
That's just good old short track racing.
Oh, a little retaliation. Holy cow! Learn more about NASCAR regional tracks near you at NASCAR.com/regional.
11 laps before the end of stage 1 here at the Kansas Speedway. Corey Heim continues to lead over Chandler Smith, Caden Honeycutt, Grant Enfinger, and Raja Caruth from Kansas Speedway. This is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Jeff Gordon wins the Daytona 500.
Jeff Gordon's rise to one of NASCAR's all-time greatest drivers was one like no other. Relive Jeff Gordon's journey to the NASCAR Hall of Fame with the exclusive MRN podcast, Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career. 93 Cup Series wins, 4 Cup Series championships, and 3 Daytona 500 wins. A career rivaled by few others. Check out MRN's Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Back at the Kansas Speedway, 21 laps complete. We are 9 laps to the end of stage 1. Corey Heim's lead is getting larger. It's up to 1.7 seconds over Chandler Smith, Caden Honeycutt, Grant Enfinger, Raja Caruth to top 5. Lane Riggs now up to 6th, Tanner Gray in 7th, Bailey Curry 8th, Jake Garcia 9th, and Carson Hocevar, after spending some time on the pit lane, has worked his way back all the way through the field, curved to the number 10 position, now 9th after passing Garcia.
Trouble turn 2, One truck is up and into the outside wall. May have cut a tire down. Hard to tell for sure, but as he scrapes, it's the Luke Baldwin machine up against the safer barrier. That had the look of a blown right front tire. Baldwin with a hard lick into the wall. He'll come down off the barrier at the exit of turn 2.
Second career start for Luke Baldwin in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and brings out our second caution here this evening.
So we've had a total of 2, one on lap 3, one on lap 22. This has been quite the physical start here tonight with the intense start of the race that we've had, all of the damage to the corner panels that we've had, and now, obviously, drivers finding their way into the wall for one reason or another.
And team cars, we've seen, the 98 of Ty Majeski and the 66 here of
Luke Baldwin.
Luke Baldwin. Brain fart there. But they both have had similar problems and come down pit road multiple times to try to address it. Interesting when you see it on team cars.
A lot of damage on the right side of that truck. The right front is flat, and it is scuffed up from stem to stern down the right side of the truck. Matter of fact, he's inching it slowly down the pit lane. Steve Post are going to have a lot of work to do on that truck if they want to get him back out there in competition.
Yeah, it is really, really wadded up. He got all of it this time as the right front is just absolutely caved in, and it's just rolling down the front stretch on the frame, and tires are flopping out from under the car, and he just about come through too many pit boxes again, and they just scolded him to make sure you stay out where you belong. So been one of those days where you're going to learn a lot of lessons if you're Luke Baldwin. NASCAR official indicating that they're on the clock as far as the damaged vehicle clock goes, and they go to work on this automobile. So rough start for Luke Baldwin. He's got veteran Doug George calling the shots, and Doug, a really, really good mentor and a really, really good leader, but it's been one of those days where they're going to have a lot to review in the Monday afternoon review session.
So that's the story for Luke Baldwin, who now sits on the pit lane as we work under the caution flag with Corey Heim, the race leader. Talked about the fact at the top of the broadcast that Corey Heim seeking a third consecutive Kansas victory after sweeping both events last year. This year's a little different because the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series only makes one visit this season to the Kansas Speedway, but Corey Heim, so far tonight, has led all 24 laps.
He is the only driver to lead laps in every race this season, and it's been an interesting year for Corey Heim. Because while we've been talking about his wins in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series that have come in the season opener at Daytona, in Las Vegas, and at Texas, he's had 3 that have gotten away. Had an electrical issue at Homestead, led 78 laps there, but he finished 3rd. At Martinsville, had a flat tire, led 149 laps there and finished 6th. And at Rockingham, he had to pit for fuel at the end, led 52 laps and finished 8th. It's very conceivable that we could have 6 wins for Corey Heim. Right now, everybody's on pit road except for Tyler Ankrum. Let's start our coverage with Jason Toy.
Coming down here towards the back end of the first stage, Chandler Smith's going to hit his mark first, has that first pit stall. Jake Garcia is here. Also, Brandon Jones making a pit stop. Lane Riggs is here. Going to put the chassis wrench in the right rear bed of that pickup truck to try to tighten them up a little bit. Also, Stuart Friesen is in. Matt Crafton, Caden Honeycutt. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel here on the turn 4 into pit road. Steve Post.
Grant Enfinger a little bit neutral to tight, so they're going to go 4 tires, chassis adjustment, Sunoco racing fuel. William Byron is in, has had a good run. He said the truck just built tight over the course of the run. Also in Corey Heim, his truck a little bit loose. Scott Zipadelli, the crew chief, said, it's all right. We'll tighten you up and get you back up on the racetrack. 4 tires, Sunoco racing fuel, and Corey Heim wins the race off from pit road.
You heard Mike Bagley mention the fact that Tyler Ankrum stayed on the racetrack, but Steve is exactly right. As far as the drivers coming off pit road, it was Corey Heim first off the pit lane, followed by Rajah Caruth, who picks up 3 positions with an excellent pit stop. Caden Honeycutt, Chandler Smith, and Grant Enfinger. Again, that's how they came off pit road. More racing coming up, looking for the restart shortly.
We're at the start-finish line.
William Byron on pole position. Green flag is out and we're racing.
We're in the turn.
Here to the inside comes Kyle Larson. He and Hamlin bump.
We're on pit road.
4 tires, Sunoco racing fuel. The race off from pit road is Denny Hamlin. Eric Jones goes off.
We are live from the track. The Motor Racing Network, your home for NASCAR racing. Don't miss a lap, pit stop, or side-by-side race for the win. Listen to all the play-by-play action on your local radio station and MRN or NASCAR.com. Get ready. The third annual NASCAR Day Give-a-thon is just days away. Join us on May 13th to support hundreds of nonprofit organizations across the country to raise much-needed funds for their missions. When you give to the NASCAR Day Give-a-thon, you will be eligible for some special incentive prizes and matching donation opportunities to make the most of your gift. Visit NASCARDayGiveathon.org and learn how you can join us. That's NASCARDayGiveathon.org.
Under this caution, Ty Majeski will be the beneficiary. He will get the free pass. That will put him back on the lead lap. Talked about Tyler Ankrum. He had stayed on the racetrack. He has since come down the pit lane. We'll reset the running order when we come back. From Kansas Speedway, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Voice of NASCAR.
The green flag is in the air, and we are underway. The Great American Race.
The Motor Racing Network. NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Craftsman Truck Series Racing live on your hometown radio station and MRN or NASCAR.com. Martinsville, Talladega, the Chicago Street Course. We have the side-by-side action and last lap passes for the win.
Photo finishes. Ryan Blaney will win.
The voice of NASCAR, the Motor Racing Network.
Inspiring story.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes back to the Daytona International Speedway. He will win the Pepsi 400.
I'm just a pilot, man. You know, I just want everybody to be happy. I want to do good, and hopefully all of my dad's fans enjoyed this. This for all them.
Motor Racing Network's NASCAR Live presents podcast Junior's Journey. Jeff Gordon, a colorful career, 50 years of MRN, the 1993 season, the road to royalty, and more. Search for NASCAR Live on your favorite podcast platform.
Wrapping up our second caution of the evening here in the Heart of Healthcare 200 at Kansas. Resetting the top five for you as everything cycles back around. It's Corey Heim back to the top of the leaderboard, followed by Rajah Caruth in second, Caden Honeycutt third, Grant Enfinger into the top five for the first time tonight. He shows in fourth, and Chandler Smith is fifth.
When the field comes back to the line, it'll be 2 laps to go in stage one, so it's going to be quite the scramble and quite the shootout to decide who will receive the green and white checkered flag and will be the stage one winner. Again, the first stage is 30 laps, the second is 30 laps, and then the final stage will be 74 laps in its duration. That will lead us to the published distance of 134 laps, which will make up the Heart of Healthcare 200. There have only been 2 leaders. It's been Corey Heim, who's led 26. Frankie Muniz stayed out on the racetrack. He's led 1 lap, but as predicted, per usual, on mile-and-a-half racetracks, it's been Corey Heim that's had has this race in his grasp, and we'll see if he can hang on and fend off the advances of Rajah Caruth and others and claim yet another stage win here in 2025.
Mike mentioned the fact that the points window for stage points is about to open here shortly in just a couple of more laps, and practically everyone right now in the top 10 in the running order are series regulars eligible for those points. Here they come down to the line. Green flag is in the air, and on the break, Corey Heim inside, and Rajah Caruth with a good restart to the outside.
This time Rajah stays right with him into the banking at turn number 1, but again, trying to wedge his way 3 wide up the middle. Caden Honeycutt, he'll do it again and go to second place.
Caden Honeycutt still 3 wide off of turn number 2 with Rajah Caruth onto the outside of him. Grant Enfinger is downstairs into turn number 3. Corey Heim will take the top spot. Caruth goes to second, Enfinger now third.
3 and 4 wide down the back straightaway. Coming to the final lap of stage number 1, Stuart Friesen and others banging quarter panels at the line. Here they come, back to 1. Final lap of stage 1 underway.
Corey Heim's got the lead by a car length, but Rajah Caruth has got a plan. He looks high on the banking, follows in his tire track. Here comes Enfinger to the inside for second.
Caruth had to crack the throttle coming off of the corner, and here comes Grant Enfinger, wheel to wheel for second into turn number 3 behind Corey Heim, leading the field to 4.
Rajah Caruth tries to regroup around the outside and secure the second position, but well behind Corey Heim. The green and white checkered flag is in the air, signifying the end of stage 1, and it is Corey Heim who is the stage winner. Rajah Caruth comes across the line in second, Grant Enfinger third, Carson Hocevar fourth, Chandler Smith was fifth, with Lane Riggs getting around Daniel Hemrick to conclude the stage. Riggs will finish the stage in 6th, Hemrick 7th. Caden Honeycutt lost a spot or two, fell back to 8th, followed by Tanner Gray in 9th, and Bailey Curry works his way into the top 10.
Corey Heim claiming his 6th stage win of 2025 and his 4th here at Kansas.
Good morning, guys. I just want to warn you, traffic is tough out there.
We are here for you to tell you how to keep safe.
Everybody who is listening needs to take cover as soon as they can.
To provide the music, talk, and sports you love. And to deliver the news that matters to you. We are the voices you can trust. We are live and local. We are America's broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress you depend on your local radio stations.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Where do you experience the power of the human spirit? At Advent Health, we see the resilience and uncommon compassion of the human spirit at work every day in our dedicated clinical and non-clinical team members. That's why we're ready to care for you with top-tier benefits, including career development, student loan support, paid parental leave, and much more. Answer your calling and join our growing team in Kansas and beyond. Apply today at answeryourcalling.com.
From Kansas Speedway, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Do you have an unused car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or RV taking up space? Put it to good use by donating it to the NASCAR Foundation. Proceeds help fund medical resources for children in our racing community. Your wheels can heal. Call 844-NASCAR-9 and we'll come tow away your vehicle for free. The process is quick and your gift is tax deductible. Call 844-NASCAR-9 to donate your vehicle to the NASCAR Foundation today. Your donation will help our children survive and thrive.
Relive the thrills of over 50 years of NASCAR racing with the Motor Racing Network's Classic Race.
36th Annual Southern 500. They come down to the start-finish line. Bill Elliott and David Pearson get down.
We dig into the MRN audio vault for unforgettable races and moments.
Dale Jarrett's got the lead. Earnhardt's not going to get him. Dale Jarrett is going to win the Daytona 500.
Available on MRN.com and podcast platform.
Fallon Kulwicki out of turn number 4, the new Winston Cup champion. He does it across the line.
MRN Classic Races.
The team at Advent Health has your back with expert care and resources that can help you feel strong, confident, and supported. So get pro-level care with Advent Health, the official health care provider of Kansas Speedway and Legacy Motor Club.
Mike, want to go back to a name you mentioned just a moment ago when we went through that last cycle of pit stops, which was back at lap 24. And by the way, pit road is open once again. You mentioned the fact that Frankie Muniz had gone to the top and had stayed on the racetrack and had led a lap. He's been very busy in addition to his race driving duties.
He has. You know, he was the star of Malcolm in the Middle, whether they're doing a sequel or a reboot, as it were. Had a chance to chat with Frankie yesterday, and they're wrapping up taping and filming of that Tuesday and Wednesday of this coming week. And I asked him about the challenges of maintaining a full-time driving career and then obviously going out to Los Angeles and fulfilling those commitments there. He's like, it hasn't been as bad as he thought it was. It's been fun bouncing back and forth. And for those of you that are fans of Malcolm in the Middle, you look forward to that reboot obviously coming up soon. And he also talked about the frustrating nature to the start of this season. And he's been really learning how to manage the emotions that go with the frustrations of being a professional race car driver. But more importantly, he says, you know, we're going along, we're minding our own business. We'll get something popped through the radiator. I'll get spun by somebody. And, you know, of course, the old saying, well, that's big-time auto racing right there. He's learning that. And for some, it can be a painstakingly slow process.
And there's that happens. Everybody goes through that. I don't care what level it is, what series you're talking about. Just noticed Ben Rhodes came down to pit lane. Let's check back in with Steve Post.
Ben Rhodes brought his truck down. We'll have to find out what the story is. He's just pulling away right now. He gets around the aforementioned Frankie Muniz, who's shed a tire and sent it out on the pit road. So we'll sneak down there and see what Rich Lucius and Ben Rhodes had going on with that stop. I know it's the end of a stage break with everyone just pitting a few laps ago. I think this has to qualify as an unscheduled stop. I'll get back with you and let you know what they did on that.
Stuart Friesen also on the pit lane after some contact coming to the end of stage one. Ty Majeski is on pit road again. He was involved on that initial start with damage on the right front. They've been on pit lane multiple times. Looks like ThorSport Racing having a big handful here to get this started. But, Kurt, Tyler Ankram's been on pit road. Talk about Ben Rhodes. We talk about others. William Byron stalling the truck coming up pit lane. This has been a handful as much on the pit lane as it has been the racetrack tonight.
That's true. And while we were away a moment ago during the break, Dave Moody, who's positioned as usual over in turns 1 and 2 this evening. Dave, you were kind of checking the running order, and you said, there's a guy who's worked his way into the top 5 who's had quite a run so far here this evening.
Yeah, that would be one Carson Hocevar, Kurt. He was the caboose on the freight train not too long ago, starting dead last after making a couple of pit calls under that first caution flag. He fought his way through the field, and he did it quite smartly, all the way to a 4th-place finish at the end of stage number 1. He's got a really fast horse underneath him tonight. It's going to be fun to see what Carson Hocevar can do the rest of the way.
We were talking about Frankie Muniz a moment ago. He has come back down the pit lane, a penalty for an uncontrolled tire. What were you just talking about?
Frustrations and the numbers of them that Frankie has had. We'll add this to the list. Again, another thing that was out of his control. So Frankie off to a rough start. One update you on Stuart Friesen. Had some contact late at the end of the stage. Connor Mosack, Gio Ruggiero, and Stewart were 3 wide coming out of turn number 4. They were banging quarter panels, and smoke was boiling off the Stuart Friesen truck. Looks like they have taken care of the right side of his truck where that damage occurred, and that'll send Stewart back out onto the racetrack. He right now is posted in the 26th position after storming his way up through the field and just about cracking the top 10 in the opening stage.
Let's bring the crew chief in, Todd Gordon. Todd, on a night like this, Corey Heim, he has been a big part of the storyline. He comes out tonight. He dominates the opening stage. We're going to follow up on that in just a moment. Let's check back in first. Steve Post, how about a follow-up on Ben Rhodes?
I just checked in with Rich Lucius, the crew chief, on it. I said, what happened? And he just looked at me and said, terrible. We're absolutely terrible. So they did go under the hood, but it was going under the hood to make suspension adjustments on the truck. That's how bad it is for Ben Rhodes.
All right, thank you, Steve. Todd, Corey Heim's been dominant. If you're a crew chief for anybody else in the lineup tonight, what do? Do you just have to focus on your own game, your truck, your driver, and not worry about what's happening at the front of the field?
Yeah, I'm definitely working on what our game is. And knowing that this racetrack, we've got turn 1 into the shade at this point. Turn 4 is into the shade. The racetrack, as the sun sets, we're only at the end of stage 1, 35 laps into this. I feel like we've got to be anticipating what our race truck's going to need come end of the race, and work with my driver on what we need to make our truck better, and working my plan on anticipating this racetrack will swing loose as it goes into nightfall, how I'm going to anticipate that and put myself in a good position at the end.
Fair enough. Right now the field over at the end of the back straightaway, just about set to get back underway. We have been slowed by caution 3 times tonight, twice for incidents on the racetrack, and then the most recent caution coming out to signify the end of stage number 1. Right now the field over in turn 4. When we get the green flag, it'll be 24 laps to go here in stage number 2. Mike?
Here they come. They are stacked up for the restart again. Corey Heim, Rajah Caruth, Grant Enfinger, Carson Hocevar, and Chandler Smith, the top 5. And here they come now as the Toyota Super Safety Car heads to pit road and the field approaches the restart zone. The field is in control by Corey Heim. Rajah Caruth with a great start. He's going to hang with Heim stride for stride as Hocevar will dart 3 wide to the outside.
Had a feeling he might do something, and he jumps 3 wide to the outside, trying to take over the number 3 position. He won't get that job done, but the man in the middle, Caruth, gets shuffled back to the tail end of the top 10.
Rajah Caruth continuing to fall backwards as he's getting shuffled on this restart. Hocevar goes to 5th. Battle for 3rd is on in turn 3. Lane Riggs to the inside of Grant Enfinger.
Right down next to the white line at the bottom of the racetrack in turn 4. It's Lane Riggs who's on the move. He's up to 4th. He's challenging for 3rd, but it's Corey Heim leading back to turn 1.
Chandler Smith about 3 truck lengths back in the 2nd spot. Grant Enfinger for the moment is 3rd. He runs midway up the banking. Here comes Hocevar to the bottom. He'll take 3rd place.
Hocevar slides right in front of Grant Enfinger coming off of turn number 2. He'll take the 3rd spot. Enfinger now back to 4th. Here's Lane Riggs drawing right to the back tailgate of Grant Enfinger.
Enfinger in fifth.
That is the battle for the number 4 spot. Enfinger and Riggs going at it right there. Meanwhile, behind them, Rajah Caruth is on the comeback trail. He's just trying to rally back, Dave, after getting the shuffle backward on the restart.
Yeah, he got the bum's rush at the drop of the green flag, went from the 2nd spot back to about 8th or 9th. He has regrouped now. He makes the pass to take over 6th.
That'll be a nice pass that Caruth makes coming off of turn number 2. He will slide in front of the Daniel Hemrick truck. Now Hemrick goes to the outside wall in turn 3, trying to fight back and get back around Caruth.
Further ahead, here's Carson Hocevar. He's gone from 4th to 3rd and now to 2nd. He has just completed the pass coming off turn 4, getting around Chandler Smith. Dave, you called it. Hocevar on the move.
Up to the number 2 position, and he continues to march right now, running dead center in the middle of the banking on entry, drifting up a little higher, trying to run down Corey Hine.
A little bit further behind, the battle for 4th continues. It flares up again, this time in turn number 3. Lane Riggs at his yellow F-150 to the left side of Grant Enfinger.
Lane Riggs working the bottom of the racetrack, that time through the corner. Carson Hocevar did the same. Corey Hime's been doing it all night long. Lap 40 goes on the board. It continues to be Hime, Hocevar, Smith, Enfinger, and Riggs, the top 5.
That battle for 4th has just added a new contender. Here comes Rajah Caruth. He'll jump to the bottom on Riggs. That's for 4th place.
3-truck battle for that 4th spot. Enfinger has it for the moment. Lane Riggs in 5th. Rajah Caruth back in 6th. Here's Enfinger to the top side of the racetrack in 3.
The bad news for Rajah Caruth is he is 1.6 seconds behind race leader Corey Hime. Dave, with that said, after that last restart, it could have been a heck of a lot worse.
It could have been a trip into the fence the way he got boxed around on that restart. He has regrouped, and he's in good shape right now, and the battle for the lead is heating up.
It is tightening, Dave. Halfway down the back straightaway, here comes Carson Hocevar. He has caught the race leader, Corey Hime, and trails Hime by a truck length.
Hime drifted wide in the corner by about 1.5 lanes off the bottom of the racetrack, and Hocevar darted down to the bottom to take advantage. Hocevar is there within a car length, trying to take the lead at lap 42.
Carson Hocevar jumps to the bottom of the racetrack. He's got some clean air. He'll pull side by side with Corey Hime. Can he slide him off too? No, Hime is still there.
Hime has the drive on the outside lane, and for the moment will hold the top spot, but here comes Carson Hocevar fighting back to the inside. They are wheel to wheel for the race lead.
Chevrolet, Toyota battle for the lead coming off turn 4. The momentum belongs to the high side, and that's Corey Hime. Rockets off turn 4, cuts down below the white line, saves some ground, now back up onto the main part of the racing surface in turn 2.
You can see Carson Hocevar get tight midway between 3 and 4. He had to bail out of the throttle. It cost him all his momentum, but he's trying to reel him in for another try.
I think Carson Hocevar is a little bit quicker right now than Corey Hime. However, Hime has been able to keep his Toyota Tundra wound up in the outside lane. He does the same through 3 and 4 this time by.
So Corey Hime abandons the approach that he had earlier in the race, using the inside lane of the racetrack. He has drifted way wide, and it's been able to keep him the lead, and obviously keep Carson Hocevar at arm's length. Right now, that separation for the lead put it at about 3 truck lengths. I'd like to welcome Dr. Lori Cordova to the booth. She's the medical director of Advent Health Medical Group, Mid-America Region, and Lawrence Family Physician. Welcome to the broadcast booth. How are we doing tonight?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Today's race has a new name. It's called the Heart of Healthcare 200, celebrating Nurses Week. Tell us about the change.
Well, this is Nurses Week, which is such an important time to recognize the amazing work that nurses at Advent Health do every day. Nurses really are the heart of healthcare, so we thought that this was the perfect name for a Nurses Week race.
Hundreds of thousands of patients come through your offices every year. What impact does that have on the Kansas City community?
Here in Kansas City, we have exceptional teams caring for our patients every day and night. The Advent Health Medical Group takes the lead with physicians and nurses focusing on everything from primary care to oncology, cardiology, neurosciences. We are blessed to be part of an organization focused on providing faith-based, consumer-focused healthcare that helps every one of our patients feel whole.
Advent Health has been a part of the Kansas Speedway for several years. Why is that important to Advent Health?
Well, Advent is truly a Kansas City health network, providing care to people from throughout the region. We are thrilled to be able to extend that care to the drivers, the crew, and attendees of this weekend's race. We have an exceptional trained team of ER doctors and nurses in the infield care center. We're ready to provide
had to be some kind of a mechanical problem or some kind of challenge on pit road to warrant him losing all those spots. However, with the speed that's in that truck and what they've been able to perform, it's going to put him back deeper in the field. This is where we're going to see the versatility of what he can do with that race truck, because this, for the first time tonight, he's going to find himself in dirty air. Can he get it back to the front? But up to this point, Corey Heim has definitely been getting it done tonight, leading 52 of the 54 laps completed.
Let's follow up with Steve Post.
There was a failure on the gun of the rear tire changer. They use a hydraulic gun to change the rear tires, and the gun failed, so they had to make an adjustment on that pit stop, and unfortunately for them, the gun has failed, and that put Corey Heim in that extended stay down pit road as they had to get that repaired and get those tires changed.
So Corey Heim will restart in the 16th position. This will hand the lead over to Carson Hocevar, who becomes the third different leader tonight. They've gotten the 1-to-go signal when they come back to the line. We will have 5 laps to go in stage 2. Grant Enfinger, Lane Riggs, Morgan Baird, and Rajah Caruth are the top 5 as they come to the green flag.
Again, as Mike mentioned, when we get the green, it'll be just 5 laps to go. Here in the second stage of this race, a reminder, the full distance is 134 laps here tonight, 200 miles. Right now, the field over in turns 3 and 4 behind the pace car, working their way back off the corner as we get set to go back racing here this evening. Corey Heim and Frankie Muniz and Carson Hocevar, the 3 individuals who have spent time leading here tonight. Pace car goes to pit road. Here comes the field down to the line. You've got Carson Hocevar to the inside, Grant Enfinger to the outside. Tanner Gray lines up behind Hocevar. Green flag is in the air. They all go back to turn 1.
And a good jump for Carson Hocevar will allow him to lead the way, but Grant Enfinger hanging with him there on the outside lane. Hocevar by half a truck length as they're side by side.
They're still side by side for the lead. At a 2, it's Grant Enfinger who's got the advantage this time, heading to turn number 3 in the lead. However, here comes Hocevar downstairs with a shove going into the corner, courtesy of Tanner Gray.
Oh, Tanner Gray checks up. Rajah has to check up as well, and Rajah will chase the truck up the racetrack. He'll lose a handful of more spots. Grant Enfinger goes to the lead at lap 56. He'll take him back to 1.
And he quickly pulls away by a truck length over what now is a battle for second place. To the inside, Lane Riggs under Carson Hocevar.
Lane Riggs not wasting any time. He goes to second, makes the pass on Carson Hocevar, and now Riggs sets his sights on the leader, Grant Enfinger. In 3, Riggs goes right up to the outside wall.
Here comes the leader, Grant Enfinger, off turn number 4. He's got plenty of company, though. Carson Hocevar with Lane Riggs shoving him back across start-finish. They go back to turn 1.
Lane Riggs took the second spot in turn 2. Hocevar took it back on the back straightaway. Now he's going to go for the lead. He slides to the bottom, slides across the nose. Hocevar to the number 1 spot.
Carson Hocevar's got the lead. Enfinger's been shuffled back to second, and Lane Riggs runs third. The top 3 under a blanket right now through turns 3 and 4.
That blanket's going to need more coverage, because here comes William Byron to join the party. Here he comes, running in the 4th position right now in a great run, coming out of turn number 4. 2 laps to go in stage 2 here in Kansas.
And Grant Enfinger is not done yet in that battle for the lead. He takes a look to the outside of Hocevar. No room at the end. Now he's under attack. Riggs underneath him will take second.
Lane Riggs with a power move out of turn number 2. He'll go back into the runner-up spot, a half a truck length behind the leader, Carson Hocevar. Hocevar goes to the wall. So does Riggs. Enfinger fighting downstairs.
Enfinger trying to find some momentum up off the bottom of the corner, and he's not going to find it. He's going to lose another position. He slides back up in line in 3rd. Carson Hocevar, the leader, back to turn 1.
Riggs now will put the crosshairs on Hocevar going into turn number 1. He's got a truck length in hand to make up. They'll make their way around the lap machine of Nathan Bird.
Everybody working around lap traffic. Halfway down the back straightaway, it's Hocevar, the leader, by a truck length over Lane Riggs. Then it's another 3 back to pick up Grant Enfinger. Here's Riggs diving low in 3, trying to get around the leader.
Lane Riggs digging hard to the inside of the racetrack. Green and white checkered flag is waving at the start-finish line. Can he get there? No. Carson Hocevar will win second stage of the Heart of Healthcare 200. Lane Riggs will come across the line in second. Grant Enfinger will finish this stage in 3rd, with William Byron 4th and Daniel Hemrick in 5th. Tanner Gray in 6th. Tyler Ankrum in 7th, with Ben Rhodes, Caden Honeycutt, and Rajah Caruth, the top 10 finishers and the top 10 point getters in stage 2 here at Kansas.
When celebrating after stuffing the competition. You in? Get up to speed at tgrna.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, LLC.
Get ready! The third annual NASCAR Day Give-a-thon is just days away. Join us on May 13th to support hundreds of nonprofit organizations across the country to raise much-needed funds for their missions. When you give to the NASCAR Day Give-a-thon, you will be eligible for some special incentive prizes and matching donation opportunities to make the most of your gift. Visit NASCARDayGiveathon.org and learn how you can join us. That's NASCARDayGiveathon.org.
From Kansas Speedway, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Every time the siren sounds or lights flash, someone's life is on the line. At Whelen Engineering, we know first responders carry that weight every day. That's why for over 70 years, we've led the emergency warning industry, designing and manufacturing the lights, sirens, and safety systems they trust right here in America. Because when the mission is critical, there's no room for second best. Whelen Engineering, trusted to protect first responders.
You're not going to want to miss tonight's county fair. I'm going to be...
We are your window to your community.
Did you see the last 5 minutes of that football game last night?
Oh, man, I saw the whole thing.
And a lifeline to keep you safe when danger is near.
Everybody who is listening needs to take cover as soon as they can. This is one of the biggest storms.
We are live and local. We are America's broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress you depend on your local radio stations.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Back at Kansas Speedway, under the caution flag, it's the fourth one of the evening, and it comes out, or actually the fifth one of the evening. It comes out for the end of stage number 2. Carson Hocevar has taken the lead. Matter of fact, Carson has led 7 laps. He is the second highest lap leader tonight with 7. Corey Heim has led 52. Now, we talked about the challenges on pit road for Corey Heim. He was wrestling back in the 16th position. He was able to grab 4 spots. He was able to work his way back up to the 12th position by the time that we got to the end of this stage. Now, we're about to enter the longest stage of this race. The first 2 stages have been 30 laps each. The final stage is a total of 74, which will obviously set up a unique set of circumstances. You're going to have to pit one time. Question is, Todd, when do you do it?
That's a great question, and one of those situations that I don't think I want to do it on the green, but I don't want to be on the backside of this. I mean, when you've got this situation and you've got, a second and a half of lap time fall off in 25 laps, then I really want to be close to splitting that in half and coming at, 35, 36, 37 laps into this run. I don't think I want to go to the end of the fuel run. I think I want to split it in half. But the fuel becomes a question mark as well. Steve Post?
Yeah, and Todd, that fuel window, and talking with the crew chiefs, is 50 or 52 laps. So I agree with you. The tire fall off means you don't want to be first in because you're just going to be on old, really old, worn-out tires. I'm not sure you want to be last in because you're going to lose all the speed to the trucks that pit. The challenge is, and what we had the last time is, should we get a caution? Remember, Ty Majeski, he ran out of fuel. They were right at the outside edge of that window, and he ran out of fuel. So we need to be watching this thing. There's 71 laps to go at this point. When we get down to 50 or less, then at that point we're probably within the fuel window. But that tire fall off makes it a tricky call. And in talking with crew chiefs, I tend to agree with you. You don't want to be first. You probably don't want to be last, somewhere in the middle. And maybe you just look at splitting this stage about 35 and 35 laps.
So the bottom line, there's a lot yet to play out here this evening, talking about fuel strategy, talking about tires, and talking about the fact, as Mike referenced, once we get the green flag, we're still going to have close to 70 laps to go here this evening. Talked about Corey Heim a moment ago. 52 of the first 63 laps is what he led, and he won the opening stage of the race. But then after the difficulty on the pit stop, which Steve documented earlier, had to restart back toward the center of the pack, and he struggled to work his way back up. As a result, Carson Hocevar capitalized, and Hocevar went from 4th to the lead on the restart to show the way to the green and white checkered flag to wrap up that second stage. Tanner Gray going to take the opportunity now that pit road is open. In fact, he's going to have company. Let's start with Jason Toy.
Matt Crafton on this end of pit road going to make a pit stop along with Ty Majeski. They're making a swing in as well. Giovanni Ruggiero, he's on here. They're going to go to work on the right side. He has been plowing tight throughout the entire evening, so I can put Sunoco fuel in for him. Right side tires also in front of him for Spencer Boyd. Matt Crafton, no tires, fuel only, chassis adjustment, C-post.
Tanner Gray is the truck down here, one of the trucks that pitted down here. And what they came in for is fuel only, and they had a little damage. They just wanted to take a look at it, and then they also had a little debris on the front of that truck. So one of the tire changers just went out and literally got down on his knees and really scrubbed the grill to make sure that they have full opening into the air. So you're toward the back of the field. They did not put themselves in a tire situation, but they've got that truck tightened up and buttoned up and make sure they're feeling comfortable about it for the stretch drive here.
So with pit stops wrapping up at lap 64, when the field comes back to the line, should be going back under the caution or going back under the green flag here in a couple of laps as we are about to begin the final stage of the Heart of Healthcare 200.
Where do you experience the power of the human spirit? At Advent Health, we see the resilience and uncommon compassion of the human spirit at work every day in our dedicated clinical and non-clinical team members. That's why we're ready to care for you with top-tier benefits, including career development, student loan support, paid parental leave, and much more. Answer your calling and join our growing team in Kansas and beyond. Apply today at answeryourcalling.com.
Get ready! The third annual NASCAR Day Give-a-thon is just days away. Join us on May 13th to support hundreds of nonprofit organizations across the country to raise much-needed funds for their missions. When you give to the NASCAR Day Give-a-thon, you will be eligible for some special incentive prizes and matching donation opportunities to make the most of your gift. Visit NASCARDayGiveathon.org and learn how you can join us. That's NASCARDayGiveathon.org.
When the field comes back to the line, they will get the indicator one lap and will go back under the green flag. From Kansas Speedway, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Welcome to more. More action. More awesome. More smoke. More sizzle. More soar. More roar. More friends. More family. Welcome to the one place where no matter who you are, you'll leave with something you'll never forget. Welcome to Pocono, June 20th through the 22nd. Get your tickets now at PoconoRaceway.com.
Don't miss a moment of the NASCAR season.
Chastain drove it and never lifted. Put it against the safer barrier and all the way around the turn. Passes Denny Hamlin.
Check out the Motor Racing Network's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and the NASCAR Cup Series on hundreds of local radio stations around the country. Find your local station by going to MRN.com to catch the excitement of NASCAR on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
One to go signal is in the air for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. When they come back to the line, we'll have 67 laps to go in the Heart of Healthcare 200. Carson Hocevar will lead the field back to the green flag with Lane Riggs, Grant Enfinger, William Byron, and Daniel Hemrick, the top five.
Mike, just a moment ago, you looked out the window and noticed a young race fan who was having fun, munching down on some ribs and looking out and watching these trucks here tonight. Is there any better place to be on a Saturday night in the spring than at the racetrack?
No, there isn't. And quite frankly, I'm very jealous of that young man. He's diving into a rack of ribs, and he's not leaving much for anyone else over here at that dinner table. I'm hungry, son. I'm on my way.
I'm with him.
Kurt, take the reins.
Fields at the end of the back straightaway behind the pace car, getting ready to go back under the green flag as we move into the final stage of the race. 66 of 134 laps are complete. Mike gave you the top 5, the rest of the top 10 as we get ready for the restart. You've got Tyler Ankrum. He's overcome some adversity tonight to work his way back up to the 6th spot. Likewise for Ben Rhodes, who's been on and off the pit lane. He is back up to 7th. Caden Honeycutt 8th. Rajah Caruth 9th. And Brandon Jones completes the top 10 as the field comes off turn 4.
Corey Heim will restart 11th. 4th. We're going to follow his progress, see if he can get back to the front after leading 52 laps early on. Green back up. Carson Hocevar, Lane Riggs side by side. Grant Enfinger just shoving Hocevar back to the corner.
Jacks Carson Hocevar up, shoves him into the low lane, and it's good enough to get Hocevar the lead. Good enough to get Enfinger second. Here comes William Byron around the outside for third.
William Byron trying to march forward as they exit turn number 2. The driver going backwards is Lane Riggs. He's back to 5th. Into turn 3. Hocevar, the leader, goes to the bottom. Enfinger runs second.
Corey Heim with a 3-wide move on the bottom goes from 11th to 7th, and he's not finished yet. Here he comes again. He cranks it up down low along the apron, across start finish. He's trying to get alongside of Tyler Ankrum.
Runs in position number 7, and he has lit the afterburners, no doubt about it. Ankrum goes to the bottom of the racetrack to block him off. Now the challenge up high comes from Brandon Jones.
Brandon Jones and Corey Heim battling for that position behind the machine of Tyler Ankrum. This is all going on outside of the top 5.
Closer to the front, William Byron dives to the inside of Lane Riggs. He'll take position number 3. Byron now has his sights set on Grant Enfinger in what would be a battle for seconds.
He's still got about 3 truck lengths to make up before he can catch the Grant Enfinger machine. Enfinger in turn trying to put the heat on Carson Hocevar for the lead.
Enfinger continuing to pressure the back bumper of Carson Hocevar. They zigzag their way down the backstretch, headed back to turn 3. Hocevar, a half a truck length in front of Enfinger. Enfinger goes to the wall, so does Lane Riggs.
And no rest for the weary. William Byron has worked hard to get back up to the 3rd position. He no sooner does than here comes Lane Riggs. Riggs completes the pass, move Lane Riggs up into 3rd.
He's got the number 3 spot. William Byron drop kick back to 4th, maybe not for long. He's going to look low, midway between 1 and 2, but he hasn't got the speed to take the spot back.
A little bit of a 4-truck breakaway right now at the front of the pack. You've got Hocevar, the leader, by 2 truck lengths over Grant Enfinger. Lane Riggs runs 3rd. 4th, you've got William Byron. They're all following each other through 4.
Further back, Corey Heim darts to the bottom of the racetrack. He's trying to ease under Tyler Ankrum. He'll complete the pass coming across the start-finish line, and Corey Heim is 1 spot away from breaking his way back into the top 5.
Indeed, moved Corey Heim to position number 6, but he's got a lot of daylight now between himself and the top 5. It's a good 20 truck lengths up to 5th place.
That's where you find the machine of Caden Honeycutt running all by himself in his black and white Chevrolet Silverado. Honeycutt goes to the bottom, a half a truck length behind the 4th place driver, William Byron.
Here's Byron now trying to reclaim that 3rd position. Gets a fender up alongside of Lane Riggs. Now they're door to door. The battle for 3rd heats up back to turn 1.
William Byron shoehorns his way to the left elbow of Lane Riggs. That's a side-by-side battle for 3rd. They're also closing in on Grant Enfinger, who rides 2nd.
Riggs and Byron continue to run door to door for that 3rd spot, headed back to turn number 3. Riggs has the advantage going into the corner. He'll go to the middle of the racetrack. Byron goes down low.
That is the description of the battle for racing 3rd and 4th positions. Now, Grant Enfinger was challenging Carson Hocevar for the lead, Dave, but instead Enfinger's backing up into that Lane Riggs, William Byron battle.
Yeah, he's having to play some defense now as Hocevar getting out of dodge. Trouble for Frankie Muniz last time by. Big puff of smoke out of that machine as he runs the apron.
Muniz trying to get off of the racetrack further up towards the front. You've got Enfinger trying to hold off the challenge in his rearview mirror. He's got Lane Riggs, William Byron, and Caden Honeycutt lining up at the back door.
We've talked about Caden Honeycutt running at the tail end of the top 5. His best finish ever in this series, 4th. And Dave, that came in both races here at Kansas last year.
He has really had the last couple of years a breakthrough for him, really putting the finishes together in the truck series. For the moment, he's battling for a spot in the top 5.
Corey Heim to the inside of Caden Honeycutt, halfway down the back straightaway. Heim in a Toyota, Honeycutt in a Chevrolet. They remain wheel to wheel, battling for 5th.
Corey Heim using the lane right now that produced a lot of laps led earlier tonight. Heim dials up the low lane in 3 and 4. He'll pass Caden Honeycutt, although Honeycutt would like to take that spot back.
Caden's not done yet. He is tucked right up onto the tailgate as they make their way into turn 1. Down to the bottom goes Corey Heim. He'll pull away, and now he'll put the crosshair. He wants 4th place.
Honeycutt trying to make his way down the back straightaway right now behind the machines of Corey Heim and William Byron, who run wheel to wheel for the 4th spot out of 4.
Corey Heim with the 4th position by the time they work their way back off turn number 4. Now, while all of that battle's been going on, Carson Hocevar has opened up by a full second with the race lead.
He's got a big lead right now going into turn number 1, the man on the move, and it's no surprise, it's Corey Heim. From 16th place on the grid, he's up to 4th and closing fast.
Corey Heim starting to close in on the 3rd place truck of Lane Riggs, who still has yet to be able to move around the machine of Grant Infinger. Infinger, Riggs, and Corey Heim following each other through the corner.
As they come back to the start-finish line, it'll be 57 laps to go, and right now everybody is chasing Carson Hocevar. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the NASCAR Racing Network. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is racing at the Kansas Speedway tonight. The NASCAR Racing Network on the air with live coverage of the Heart of Healthcare 200. We've got 57 laps to go. So glad you're spending your Saturday night with us here on the NASCAR Racing Network. Mike Bagley alongside Kurt Becker and Todd Gordon. Dave Moody and Tim Catalfamo are in the corners. Our pit and garage coverage tonight from Steve Post and Jason Toy. If you're just joining us, Corey Heim led the first 52 laps of this race. However, a problem on pit road with the pit gun while changing a tire has relegated him back to the 16th position. He has been on the steady climb back up to the leaderboard, and right now he has just reclaimed the 4th position. All the while, Kurt, that is transferred the lead over and the domination of this race over to one Carson Hocevar, who has just led his 24th lap.
Driving in a Spire Motorsports prepared Chevrolet here this evening, Hocevar overcame an early penalty on pit road to work his way back up through the field. Didn't take him long to do it, and from there it wasn't long until he took over the race lead and of course capitalized when Corey Heim and his pit crew had those difficulties, Mike, that you just referenced. We have had 6 lead changes among 4 drivers here tonight. We've been slowed by caution 5 times for 24 laps. Todd Gordon, when Corey Heim came off pit road after that extended stay that he had there, it seemed like for a while he was mired back in the 12th position. I thought, who knows, maybe the truck handles differently now in dirty air and such, but he's managed to work his way back up pretty well.
Well, it definitely does handle differently in dirty air, but the piece I think you're looking at is that he just doesn't have the fire-off speed relative to everybody else. Where his strength is this long-run speed. His ability to continue to run that bottom line and wrap around there with rolling speed. A lot of speed, and he's moved his way up back into the top 5. He's got a little challenge to get himself all the way up to Carson Hocevar. Steve Post, you have something to add?
Yeah, just to add to what you're saying there, Todd, you're right. The fire-off speed is not there. The long-run speed is good, but what has happened in having to challenge all of those trucks down on the low side, the truck has gone a little tight, and he feels like he's probably overworked the right front tire a little bit. So Tony Hirschman, a spotter, who just does a masterful job coaching him. Tony, a 5-time modified champion. He knows a thing or two about racing cars, has just told him, get in line, take care of the truck. We still have another pit stop, and you still have the best truck here, just maybe not at this time with it gone a little bit tight. So that's what Corey has done. He's just kind of right now riding in position number 4, and they're going to wait and see. There's another pit stop and see what the trucks do. But still very confident and very good run for Corey Heim. Gone from 16th to 4th. Now we'll see with a pit stop somewhere along the way what they can do to go from 4th to the front spot.
There will be one more pit stop to come. At least one more in the scheduled distance here. We've got 51 laps to go. Question is, Todd, when do you make the move to come down to the pit lane?
Yeah, I really think it's going to be another about 15 laps from here, but as Steve Post talked about, we're right at the edge of the fuel window right now. So any caution from here on out makes decision time for all these crew chiefs.
We've been talking about Lane Riggs, who's had a pretty solid run here this evening. Currently shows in 3rd position. Let's follow up on his story tonight with Jason Toy.
And one of the big things for Lane Riggs, as the sun has gone down and getting this track behind, with the sun falling behind you guys there at the press box, is starting to get the whole thing more in shade. And that's making for a better racetrack here for Lane Riggs. He's starting to tighten up a little bit to what they need to here. So right now, just conserving a little bit. They know they've got some worn out tires, trying to hold on to their spot. But the thing is, though, the more we move on into this run, he's getting a little bit faster and starting to catch up there to Grant Enfinger. And they even told him his lap times are starting to get a little bit better than Carson Hocevar. So just buying the time right now, holding the position, doing what they have to for that final stop, where most of these teams who have not had tire issues have that final set of Goodyear Racing Eagles here to throw on when they get that Sunoco fuel later on.
You heard Jason mention as we go farther into this run, currently 20 laps on this green flag run, the longest we have seen so far this evening.
Hey, I hear you think podcasts are all about true crime, huh? Well, wise guy, the iHeartRadio app's got all kinds of podcasts. We got stuff you should know and stuff they don't want you to know. We got Bobby Bones, Big Boy, and Lou Later. We got SpongeBob Binge Pants and Exotic Erotic Story Time. We got Doughboys, Two Dudes in the Kitchen, Green Eggs and Dan. Hey, we got Elf Quest. We got podcasts for everything on the iHeartRadio app for free. If you don't download that, well, that's not just a true crime, my friend. That's criminal.
The thrills of NASCAR racing from over 55 years of Motor Racing Network broadcasts.
Bobby Allison brings the race car right down in the middle of the track, crosses the start-finish line, and he will win the 24th Annual Daytona 500.
Bill Elliott wins the Hooters 500. Alan Kulwicki, 1992 champion.
MRN Classic Races.
And in the whole pack, steaming for the finish line, Dale Earnhardt wins a Winston 500.
Find all the classic moments on MRN Classic Races on any podcast platform.
Carson Hocevar, the race leader, by 0.7 of a second over Grant Enfinger, with Lane Riggs in third. Corey Heim, for the moment, is leveled off in fourth, and then Caden Honeycutt completes the top five. Still 46 laps to go, and still one more pit stop yet to go for everyone as well. From Kansas Speedway, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Looking for motorsports coverage you can't find anywhere else? Look no further than the Motor Racing Network's lineup of weekly podcasts. NASCAR news and interviews on NASCAR Live and NASCAR Live Wide Open. NASCAR Cup Series Insight on Crew Call. NASCAR Grassroots Racing News and Talk on NASCAR Coast to Coast. And Sprint Car Talk on Winged Nation. All these and more available on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Well, when we left you, Carson Hocevar, his lead was 0.7 of a second. But, Mike, that has evaporated.
Grant Enfinger has arrived on the back bumper of Carson Hocevar, and Lane Riggs is on the back bumper of Grant Enfinger. Three-way battle for the lead, 43 laps to go to turn one.
Carson Hocevar's got his hands full. He goes all the way to the fence, as he has been. That leaves the bottom open. Here comes the finger down to the inside for the lead.
Enfinger took a look to the inside, but he had to crack the throttle coming out of turn number 2, and here comes Lane Riggs with a crossover move into the corner, slides in front of Enfinger and takes the second spot away.
Amazing how quickly things can change. As Grant Enfinger thought about a move for the race lead, by the time the exchange was over, he lost second to Lane Riggs, but for how long? Here comes Enfinger racing up again to the inside.
They come into turn number 1, a very slow truck coming off to the Jack Wood machine. He'll go to the apron and out of harm's way. The battle is for second. Enfinger to the inside, Riggs to the outside.
And this battle with Riggs and Enfinger has now allowed Carson Hocevar to get away. Hocevar now has stretched his lead to 10 truck lengths as the wounded Jack Wood truck slowly through the apron in 3 and 4.
Jack Wood, with smoke trailing from the right side of that truck, makes his way to the apron and will make his way to the pit lane at lap 92. Here's a look at who's getting it done out on the track right now, presented by Craftsman. Your yard isn't overgrown, it's ripe with potential. Conquer whatever it throws at you with the Craftsman V20 brushless RP outdoor
It's
lineup.
the lower back
More
stretched out.
run time, better performance, and fewer frustrations. See craftsman.com for details. Todd, what do you think?
Mr. Grant Enfinger is getting it done. Most stage points scored of anybody all day. Been running up here in the top 3. This is the kind of step that this 9 truck is needed to move forward. Yes, he's back to 3rd from making the challenge, but he's right there within 4 car lengths to the lead. I think Grant Enfinger in the 9 truck.
That's who's getting it done out on the track right now, presented by Craftsman. Your yard isn't overgrown, it's ripe with potential. Conquer whatever it throws at you with the Craftsman V20 brushless RP outdoor lineup. More runtime, better performance, and fewer frustrations. See craftsman.com for details.
Looks like the fuel window is opening. We saw Chandler Smith on pit road a moment ago, and now Rajah Caruth. Let's cover his stop.
Rajah Caruth down here on pit road. We saw a couple laps ago, crew members down here stretching, getting ready to go, and it is a sure sign. Rajah Caruth is in, and that has opened the floodgates. Caden Honeycutt brings his car down into the attention of the crew. Going to be a little bit of a chop here with it. Here is Corey Heim. His truck is a little bit tight. They're going to loosen that up. And Grant Enfinger told Jeff Stankiewicz, whatever you gave me the last time, give me more of that, because this truck is really, really good. Jason Toy.
We've seen Lane Riggs come in 1 lap later than his teammate did, and Chandler Smith. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel. They waited to make sure they packed it in with fuel. Caden Honeycutt's down on the way. Also, Brandon Jones, Jake Garcia making a stop. Carson Hocevar headed your way, Steve Post.
Carson Hocevar reported that the truck got very loose in the last 10 laps of that run. He could barely hang on to it. Hocevar going to be in 4 tires, Sunoco racing fuel.
Caution is on the speedway. Frankie Muniz goes for a spin out on the racetrack, and that will put us under the caution flag. Their 6th of the evening, Kurt, and it comes out right in the middle of green flag pit stops. This is the last thing everybody wanted to see.
Came just as Carson Hocevar had given up the race lead to come down pit road. Tyler Ankrum had just come down the pit lane as well. Other drivers who were on pit lane at the time that the caution flag was unfurled. 2 or 3 others as well. Connor Mosak among them, just kind of throws a bit of I guess you would say a twist into things that maybe a lot of folks didn't want to see.
So most everybody that came to pit road ended up being cycled back a lap down to William Byron here because he hadn't come to pit road. Carson Hocevar was on pit road and beat William Byron to the exit line. That kept him tail end of the lead lap. He's on tail end of the lead lap. On tires, going to be back in front.
So William Byron is still the leader now by choice of not pitting when the caution flag was coming out. He stays on the racetrack. Stuart Friesen now will cycle to 2nd. Tanner Gray 3rd. Gio Ruggiero 4th. Ty Majeski 5th. Ben Rhodes 6th. You got Matt Mills 7th. Matt Crafton 8th. Bailey Curry 9th. And Andres Perez right now in the 10th position. And right now, that was a very unfortunate caution flag for many people. For Carson Hocevar and the way it worked out for him, it may work out in his favor.
I believe that Carson will end up being the leader once these guys have to come to pit road at this piece. That's going to put everybody from Lane Riggs, Grant Enfinger, Corey Heim on back that had pitted. They're going to have to take the wave around. That will put them, at best, I believe they're going to start 14th. Pretty deep in this field for the last run.
And we're talking about right now, there are 36 laps to go. So as the laps continue to wind down, again, this most recent caution coming out when Frankie Muniz lost control of his truck and went for a spin. But if you've got to restart, to your point, Todd, if you are going to have to take the wave around, and if you're going to be facing a lot of traffic, by the time this all sorts out and we go back racing, these laps are going to click by pretty fast, are they not?
They are. And this is one of those things. We talked about this, Corey Heim, with the unfortunate pit gun that broke on the before the end of stage 2. Started 16th, couldn't get but to about 12th in the 4 or 5 laps there. These guys are going to be a lap on tires at a deficit because they've got a cycle on them now and starting that deep in the race. It's going to be fun to watch how really the Corey Heim, Grant Enfinger, and Lane Riggs slice and dice their way forward.
Rajah Caruth nabbed for speeding on the pit lane. He'll have to restart at tail end, and he will not be able to take the wave around. So Rajah's going to have a lot of work tonight. Not the night that he was looking for. He's had some challenges, especially on restarts. But right now the pit lane is open, and those that have not pitted now have the opportunity to pit. William Byron, the first on the pit lane, Stuart Friesen, Tanner Gray, Gio Ruggiero, and basically everybody else that is yet to come to pit road is there now. First to Jason.
Ruggiero will stop. They'll go to the right side for him. Sunoco Fuel. Stuart Friesen looking to turn the luck around here tonight. Right side tire is complete. They'll swing around on the left side of his Toyota. Second kit of Sunoco Fuel goes in for him too. Further up pit road, Matt Crafton. Perez de Lara also in. 4-tire Sunoco Fuel here on the back end. Steve Post.
Yeah, down here, chassis adjustment for William Byron. He said that the truck was better, still a little bit tight, so they're going 4-tire Sunoco Racing Fuel for William Byron here. Able to take a little bit more time because they had a pretty good lead, and he's going to go out side by side with Stuart Friesen. We'll see how they all cycle around, and how this thing all cycles around with everybody now is everybody should be good on fuel to the end of this race. We just need to see where everyone is and where everyone is on those Goodyear Racing Eagles.
Looks like it'll be Stuart Friesen who was first off the pit lane, followed by William Byron, and then Gio Ruggiero, Tanner Gray, Matt Mills, Ben Rhodes, Matt Crafton, Bailey Curry, Ty Majeski, and Dawson Sutton. 35 laps to go as we continue to work under the caution.
Get ready! The third annual NASCAR Day Give-a-thon is just days away. Join us on May 13th to support hundreds of nonprofit organizations across the country to raise much-needed funds for their missions. When you give to the NASCAR Day Give-a-thon, you will be eligible for some special incentive prizes and matching donation opportunities to make the most of your gift. Visit NASCARDayGiveathon.org and learn how you can join us. That's NASCARDayGiveathon.org.
Hi, I'm Daniel Suarez, NASCAR driver, and I'm very excited to announce the NASCAR Cup Series is coming to Mexico. For the first time in history, NASCAR Cup Series will leave the United States and visit Mexico City. See you at the Autódromo Hermano Rodriguez from June 13 to June 15. Fast cars, sharp turns, and the magic of Mexico. Let's race. Get your tickets for the NASCAR Mexico City weekend on Ticketmaster.
We'll reset the running order for you in just a moment. From Kansas Speedway, this is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
NASCAR history.
Petty wins his 200th career NASCAR victory.
Told by the people who made that history.
President Reagan was there. He got us on the front page, and we got him in the sports page. It was a good trade-off from that standpoint.
Motor Racing Network's NASCAR Live presents podcast The Road to Royalty. Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career, 50 Years of MRN, the 1993 season, Junior's Journey, and more. Search for NASCAR Live on your favorite podcast platform.
Good morning, guys. I just want to warn you, traffic is tough out there.
We are here for you to tell you how to keep safe.
Everybody who is listening needs to take cover as soon as they can.
To provide the music, talk, and sports you love. And to deliver the news that matters to you. We are the voices you can trust. We are live and local. We are America's broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress you depend on your local radio stations.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Field has just gotten a signal. One more lap. We'll go back racing as we move toward the final 32 laps of the Heart of Healthcare 200 here at Kansas for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Carson Hocevar. By the time this all cycles back around, and to your point earlier, Todd Gordon, Carson Hocevar is the race leader. William Byron second, Stuart Friesen third, Gio Ruggiero fourth, and Tanner Gray fifth, with Matt Mills in sixth, Ben Rhodes in seventh, Matt Crafton in eighth, Bailey Curry in ninth, and Ty Majeski completing the top 10.
Dawson Sutton has rebounded to run 11th. You've got Andres Perez in 12th, Tony Breidinger in 13th, Lane Riggs 14th, Grant Enfinger 15th. Corey Heim will restart in 16th. Caden Honeycutt in 17th. Connor Mosak in 18th. Daniel Hemrick 19th. And Tyler Ankrum will restart in 20th.
All of these drivers on the lead lap after several took the wave around. Further back, you've got 21st position Brandon Jones, Chandler Smith in 22nd, Jake Garcia 23rd, Morgan Baird, final driver on the lead lap in 24th. One or more laps down, Spencer Boyd, Cody Dennison, Rajah Caruth after that penalty on pit road, as well as Jack Wood and Frankie Muniz with Nathan Bird and Luke Baldwin in the garage.
When they come back to the line, it's going to be 32 laps to go in the Heart of Healthcare 200. Carson Hocevar will come to the line and will lead his 43rd lap of the evening. Can he hang on and take Spire Motorsports to victory lane here at Kansas? Or perhaps maybe could Stuart Friesen have a breakthrough finish tonight? It's been a challenging year for Stu the Shoe. Right now, though, he's got to get through the Great Wall of Spire. He's got Hocevar and Byron. That'll start side by side on the front row. Byron slow to come to life. Friesen's going to shove Hocevar into the clean air into one.
Another big shove by Stuart Friesen. Thank you very much, says Carson Hocevar. He's away with the lead. Friesen goes to second. Byron trying to regroup in the high lane.
William Byron under fire at a turn number 2. He has a truck to his left side as they head down the back straightaway. That is Ben Rhodes. They run that way into turn number 3. Now here's Byron moving to the low lane and challenging Friesen for second.
Here's Friesen now. He is fighting hard off the top of turn number 4, but here's Byron. Byron has more momentum to the inside and draws alongside to try to take second.
Byron takes it almost all the way to the infield grass, trying to make the move on Stuart Friesen. They are side by side for position number 2. Byron off the second turn, slides up, he's got the spot.
Byron can't quite clear Stuart Friesen, though. He fights his way back to the outside, and they are cheek to cheek for the runner-up spot, happening 5 truck lengths behind the leader, Carson Hocevar.
The more they battle for second, the more they allow Carson Hocevar to pull away. At the line, Hocevar will lead him, and his lead is now up to 0.7 of a second.
Carson Hocevar in getaway mode, and the battle for second is heating up even further. William Byron is taken second. Here comes Gio Ruggiero. He'll steal third by a nose.
Ruggiero and Friesen side by side for the third spot. This is now bringing the machine of Ben Rhodes into this mix. A 3-truck fight for third through turns 3 and 4.
Restart violations for Tony Breidinger and Corey Heim for changing lanes coming down for the restart. We'll check where Corey Heim and Tony fall back into the running order shortly. In the meantime, Dave, it's Carson Hocevar checking out on the field.
He's got a pretty healthy lead right now for William Byron, who rides alone in second. 3 more back to Stuart Friesen.
Running right now in the 4th spot, that's where you find Gio Ruggiero. Behind Ruggiero, it's a battle for 5th between Ben Rhodes, Tanner Gray, Lane Riggs, and Corey Heim.
Leaders work their way off the corner. Corey Heim got the black flag 1 lap ago. He will not come to the pit lane this time through. He's racing for a spot with Lane Riggs. They're racing for 7th as he gets the black flag for the 2nd time.
Lane Riggs would do well just to let him go and not waste time or energy on that fight. Heim will have to bring it to pit road. Right now, he is 8th on the racetrack.
And a couple of truck lengths behind the Corey Heim truck is Bailey Curry, and then you find Matt Crafton. That's how they run in the top 10.
Here comes the field now through turn number 4, keeping an eye on Corey Heim, and this time Heim is going to answer that black flag. He drops down out of line and works his way slowly down pit road as Hocevar leads back to turn 2.
And the battle is on again for position number 2. William Byron has got a tailgate full of Stuart Friesen. Friesen slips off 2 and loses the truck lane.
Stuart Friesen continuing to fight hard inside of the top 5 late in this race. He is filling up the rear view mirror of William Byron.
Off the corner they come. Hocevar, Byron, Friesen, Ruggiero, and Rhodes. They are the top 5. They've got 26 laps to go. Tanner Gray has fallen back to position number 6. But Todd Gordon, you were keeping an eye on Lane Riggs. As once he's gotten into the clean air, we've seen a lot of speed out of that truck tonight. And it looks like he is hammered down in full throttle trying to get his way back to the front.
Yeah, he restarted 14th there. He's up to 7th so far and continuing to try to run up these next 3 positions that are trucks that are tailgate to bumper here.
Corey Heim has returned to the racetrack, 23rd position. Tony Breidinger has returned to the racetrack, 24th position. After those penalties for a violation on the restart. No penalties, no problems at this point for Carson Hocevar. He has just put lap 109 on the board. Mike, that means we're down to 25 to go.
Yeah, sand is trickling through the hourglass tonight here at Kansas. The Musco lighting system is on. We are in sunset mode
Trouble
here.
Back straightaway. 2 trucks spin coming off of the corner. One of them is Connor Mosak. The other one impossible to tell. Heavy smoke coming out of one of the trucks as they work their way down the backstretch.
Bailey Curry, the other truck involved in that incident. A lot of smoke off the back of the Connor Mozak machine. They both have continued on away, but not before we go under the caution flag for the 7th time here tonight.
So this will give a chance for perhaps maybe Corey Heim to reset and get his way back through the field after responding to that pit road penalty that he had, or that restart penalty. He had to do a pass-through, and he has accomplished that. He was on the verge of about to lose a lap there, but the caution flag comes out after the Bailey Curry truck, who also got clipped in that was Connor Mozak. Those two trucks simultaneously spinning to the bottom of the back straightaway, which will put us under the 7th caution flag of the evening.
This is Kyle Larson.
I'm David Grouse.
Hi, I'm Donnie Shaw.
This is Brian Brown.
This is Danny Dietrich.
Wing Nation is your go-to destination for all the latest sprint car news and interviews from the stars of sprint car racing from around the country. This is Steve Post. Aaron Evernham, Ashley Strummy, and I will have all the latest news, insights, and conversations on Wing Nation's YouTube or Facebook pages, or listen and download and subscribe to Wing Nation on any podcast platform.
Wing Nation.
Wing Nation. Wing Nation.
Wing Nation.
Wing Nation. All sprint cars, all the time.
Drivers, start your engines!
Your home for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Green flag goes in the air and we are underway.
On the NASCAR Racing Network.
2x2x2, they're about 10 rows deep of double-wide racing. Taylor Gray to the bottom, Nick Sanchez outside, and they're crashing mid-pack.
It's the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on the NASCAR Racing Network.
Carson Hocevar continues to lead. William Byron, Stuart Friesen, Gio Ruggiero, Ben Rhodes, the top 5 from Kansas Speedway. This is the NASCAR Racing Network, home of the tough trucks of NASCAR.
Have an unused car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or RV taking up space? Put it to good use by donating it to the NASCAR Foundation. Proceeds help fund medical resources for children in our racing community. Your wheels can heal. Call 844-NASCAR-9 and we'll come tow away your vehicle for free. The process is quick and your gift is tax deductible. Call 844-NASCAR-9 to donate your vehicle to the NASCAR Foundation today. Your donation will help our children survive and thrive.
The year was 1993. The NASCAR Cup Series season kicked off with the Dale and Dale Show at the Daytona 500.
Dale Jarrett's got the lead. He goes to the inside. Earnhardt's not going to get him. Dale Jarrett is going to win the Daytona 500 by SDP. Earnhardt second.
The 1993 NASCAR Cup Series season. All the highs and lows. Relive them all on MRN's exclusive podcast, The 1993 Season. Available on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
$22 laps to go here at the Kansas Speedway for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The Heart of Healthcare 200 winding its way to conclusion. We invite you to join us tomorrow. Motor Racing Network will be on the air for the Advent Health 400. Our live airtime begins at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. NASCAR Live Race Day will take to the air, and we will find out who it's going to be that will drive into victory lane. You know, in this race 1 year ago, it was the closest finish in NASCAR history. Kyle Larson beating Chris Buescher by 1/1000th of a second. In qualifying earlier today, Kyle Larson beat Chris Buescher to take the pole. Larson and Buescher will start side by side on that front row as we will go under the green flag tomorrow afternoon. Once we pack up tomorrow, though, it's All-Star Week, and we're going to head to the North Wilkesboro Speedway, and we have got a ton of coverage coming your way next week. It'll begin in Wilkesboro Friday night with NASCAR All-Star practice and qualifying. That'll be 5 p.m. Eastern Time. The NASCAR Racing Network will be on the air next Saturday with these very same truck teams in the Window World 250. Be sure to join us 1 week from today at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Then it'll be time for NASCAR Cup Series All-Star Heat Races. We'll have coverage of that for you on the Motor Racing Network at 5 Eastern. On Sunday, doubleheader coverage comes your way from North Wilkesboro. We'll have coverage of the Wheeling Modified Tour at 2 Eastern. And then it'll be the NASCAR All-Star Open and All-Star Race beginning at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. That again, 1 week from tomorrow. Hope to see you all at North Wilkesboro Speedway. If you can't make it there, you can catch all the action on the NASCAR Racing Network and the Motor Racing Network.
1 lap to go. We'll go back under the green flag. 20 laps to go here. Carson Hocevar, the race leader. Todd Gordon, what about the fact that tomorrow's Advent Health 400, a win could launch you toward the playoffs. A win is also the last chance to get locked into the All-Star race without having to go through the Open. From your perspective as a former crew chief and a championship-winning crew chief, is that something that teams think about, or are they just really thinking about more the points aspect of points races?
Wouldn't say I ever thought about it. Honestly, but I've not. I don't know that I've been in a situation where I bounced on being the open car or the playoff car. So it may enter the back of your mind, but everybody's thinking about the bigger piece of becoming playoff eligible and getting a win there.
Sure, fair enough. And that's one of the things at stake here tomorrow for the Advent Health 400. Field at the end of the backstretch, lining up behind the pace car. So far this evening, 8 lead changes among 5 drivers, 7 cautions for 32 laps here this evening. Carson Hocevar has led more laps than anyone tonight. He's led for 54. Corey Heim has led for 52. Heim was in the process of trying to work his way back up through the field. He got penalized on the last restart. That's dropped him back to 20th in the running order.
Pull your belts tight, folks. When they take the green flag, it'll be 20 laps to go here in Kansas. And you got a couple of Spire Motorsports Chevrolets that'll restart on the front row. Carson Hocevar to the inside of William Byron. They inch their way into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. Hocevar is gone before he even gets to the start-finish line. He'll check out and leave William Byron to race side by side with Stuart Friesen.
William Byron, though, getting a pretty good shove from behind from Gio Ruggiero. They're 3 wide behind him. To the outside, steps Tanner Gray to go to third.
Tanner Gray with a nice move on the restart moves to third. They're wheel to wheel for the race lead. Carson Hocevar and William Byron remain in that formation into the corner. Now here's Hocevar inching out ahead at a 4.
Wise move by Tanner Gray. Thought about stacking them 3 wide at the end of the backstretch. He quickly ran out of racetrack. He lifted. A wise move to avoid an accident, but it's going to cost him a couple of positions in the running order.
Yeah, he lost some momentum. He now is drop-kicked back to the number 5 position, and he's going to have to fight to hang on to that. At the front, Hocevar by 2 over Byron.
There you find the machine of Gio Ruggiero, who has gone to third. Tanner Gray is 4th, and Dawson Sutton completes the top 5. Side by side for 3rd and 3. Tanner Gray back to the bottom on Gio Ruggiero.
A couple of teammates racing for a spot there. Tanner Gray center on in there to the bottom of the racetrack. Gio trying to counterattack, but he can't get it done. It's Hocevar, Byron, Gray, Ruggiero, and Sutton, the top 5 with 18 to go.
Haven't talked much about either Gio Ruggiero or Tanner Gray until the very late going, but their timing is impeccable. They run 3rd and 4th.
Closer up to the front, William Byron had a nice launch out of turn number 2, and here he comes, pulling to within 1 truck length of the race leader, Carson Hocevar.
A couple of Spire Motorsports Chevrolets running 1-2 coming off the corner. This time by, it'll be 17 laps to go. Carson Hocevar, the leader, teammate William Byron right behind.
Byron trying to get all the fresh air across the nose of that truck that he can. Went all the way to the bottom on the front straightaway. Slides up to the top. Hocevar running the top groove as well.
Byron's red, white, and blue pickup looming larger in the rearview mirror for Carson Hocevar. It's down to a half a truck length separating the top 2. Hocevar goes to the outside wall. So does William Byron.
2-truck breakaway up front for the lead here at Kansas with teammates Carson Hocevar and William Byron holding down those spots. Further back, Corey Heim is on the move. He is blasting his way through the field. He's going to stack them 3 wide off the end of the front straightaway.
3 wide to the inside. Jake Garcia stuck in the middle. He drifts up across the path of Brandon Jones. Heim will take them both in turn 2.
Corey Heim racing back around the 10th spot has now cleared the Garcia and Brandon Jones trucks. Now the next truck in front for Corey Heim will be Ben Rhodes.
He does have some work to do, though, from there. And, in fact, Corey Heim is running better than 4 full seconds behind race leader Carson Hocevar. But, Dave, Hocevar's advantage over Byron isn't that much.
It's not. It's bigger than it was a couple of laps ago. It's gone from a truck length to maybe 2.5 or 3. But William Byron going nowhere right now.
And Hocevar has changed up his line the last several laps. As Byron was starting to track him down, Hocevar moved up to block the air and is now stalled out William Byron.
So that's the description of what's going on with the leaders. You've got Tanner Gray in third, and Lane Riggs is trying to join the party, but here comes William Byron up front again. He'll narrow the margin back to the corner.
Carson Hocevar did not go to the fence this time on entry. He was about a groove off the top of the wall. It allowed William Byron to close the gap off two.
Byron following in the tire tracks of Hocevar down the back straightaway in the ongoing fight for the lead. Here's Byron now, juking to the left into turn 3. Goes down to the bottom, trying to get around the race leader.
Battle for the lead tightening up, and so is the battle for third, where Tanner Gray has the position, but Lane Riggs closing in behind him as they all go back to turn 1.
Riggs may have saved a little something for the end here. He has come from well back to close in on the tailgate of the Tanner Gray machine. He'll look to the inside for third, not close enough in 2.
Lane Riggs exits the corner, a half a truck length behind the machine of Tanner Gray. This is the ongoing battle again for third. Here's Lane Riggs. He'll take his pickup right to the white line in turn 4.
12 to go. Lane Riggs is on the hunt. He's trying to find the bottom of the racetrack. He'll get there. Now he will race side by side with Tanner Gray. This battle for third, 1.4 seconds behind the race leader.
Riggs on the inside, Gray on the outside as they go side by side into 1. Riggs tries it deep into 1 on the bottom. He'll take over position number 3.
Nice pass made by Lane Riggs out of turn number 2. Now Riggs has got about 10 truck lengths to make up on the second place driver of William Byron.
Here's Byron now as he works off the corner. He's lost a couple of truck lengths to the race leader Carson Hocevar. At the same time, he's still some 8 truck lengths or so in front of Lane Riggs, but there's no question Riggs has been making up a lot of ground. They head back to turn 1.
And the lead is beginning to expand now for Carson Hocevar. That single truck length lead went to 1, then 2. Now it's 7, maybe 8 on the back straightaway.
Hocevar now starting to grow his lead as William Byron continues to slip into the clutches of Lane Riggs. It's 7 truck lengths now the lead for Hocevar in 4.
So as Carson Hocevar begins to leg it out now, it will come to the line with 10 to go. He is separating himself from William Byron. Lane Riggs has gotten around Tanner Gray, but further back, Corey Heim is not done. He has tracked down Stuart Friesen, will dive to the inside of Friesen in a battle for 6.
That's the battle for the number 6 position. Heim on the inside, Friesen running halfway up the banking. They're just a couple of truck lengths off the back bumper of Gio Ruggiero.
Corey Heim to the left hip pocket of Stuart Friesen out of turn number 2. Now tucks in line and follows Friesen back to turn 3. Here's Friesen in the middle part of the racetrack being tracked by Corey Heim.
Lane Riggs in that third position. He continues to close the gap on William Byron. Dave, there's a battle for second about to shape up.
Yeah, Byron's got nothing right now for Carson Hocevar. He's going to have to play some defense against the Lane Riggs machine. Gray is still in the neighborhood, too, battling for second, third, and 4.
And the question is, how much time will it take Lane Riggs to move around William Byron if he can get the pass done? Here's Riggs back to the bottom in turn 3, closing in even further on Byron.
Lane Riggs is going to give him the good look coming off the corner. A Chevy Ford battle for the number 2 position. That is happening 1.3 seconds behind the race leader with 8 to go.
If Riggs has got any ideas about contesting for the win tonight, he's got to make this pass, and he's got to make it now. Dives low in 1, slides up across the nose. Riggs goes to second on the backstretch.
Riggs had a big slide at the turn number 2, but he completes the pass on William Byron into turn 3. Riggs goes up to the safer barrier. Byron working the middle groove.
Lane Riggs 0.2 of a second quicker than race leader Carson Hocevar last time by, but again he is still facing a sizable deficit. 7 laps to go as they come across the line. It's a second and a half separating the top 2.
He's got the advantage in speed, but all the real estate belongs to Carson Hocevar. A huge lead, a good 18, maybe 20 truck lengths on the back straightaway.
And there is no lap traffic ahead for Carson Hocevar or Lane Riggs. These 2 drivers, whoever's going to win, are going to settle it amongst themselves.
Lane Riggs again goes right to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll put his left side Goodyear tires on the white line in the corner. He'll take it to the apron. The separation this time by 1.4 seconds with 6 to go. He's not catching him in wholesale fashion, but he is carving away, Dave.
Getting a little bit closer, but real estate is running short right now. Riggs trying to shorten the lap by running the bottom at least through 3 and 4.
As they go to turns 3 and 4 now, Hocevar will take it up to the outside wall. Lane Riggs now goes back down to the bottom.
Lane Riggs knocking off a tenth of a second or a couple of tenths each lap, but running out of time. 5 to go this time by. It is Carson Hocevar who shows the way back to turn 1.
Tanner Gray's top 5, top 10 run is coming to an end. His truck shut down in turn 2. He's running very slowly on the apron as the leaders make their way to the backstretch.
Halfway down the back straightaway now is Carson Hocevar holding a 10-truck length lead over Lane Riggs into the corner. Hocevar takes his Silverado again to the outside wall. Lane Riggs continues to pound away at the bottom.
And they will bypass Tanner Gray, who is just inching his way back to pit road. Obviously, that truck has no life to it right now. It's 4 laps remaining, and Tanner Gray is just still trying to get back to the entrance of pit road, Kurt, at a snail's pace.
Yeah, he continues to crawl and work his way toward the head of pit road. He is almost there as the field continues to work under the green flag. Carson Hocevar, the race leader, his advantage is still a full second. And in fact, Hocevar now comes out of the corner, and Lane Riggs, or I should say Tanner Gray, has made his way back to pit road. So here comes the lead battle. It is Lane Riggs on the charge, trying to check down Carson Hocevar.
Last time out of turn 2, Carson Hocevar's machine turned sideways on him. The handle has gone away. Lane Riggs smells blood in the water. He's within 2 truck lengths.
Lane Riggs got the outside wall coming out of turn number 2. He scuffed the right side of his F-150, but it has not slowed him down. Riggs now dives low in turn 3, a truck length behind Hocevar.
Here's Lane Riggs again. The bottom lane has been his friend in turns 3 and 4. Carson Hocevar, his friend has been the outside lane. Lap traffic ahead. We've got 2 laps to go in Kansas.
2 lap trucks are dead ahead. Carson Hocevar will have to deal with them. Catching Hocevar is one thing for Riggs. Passing him is another. They make their way to the backstretch.
Bailey Curry and Spencer Boyd dead ahead for both of these 2 leaders. Spencer Boyd will pull over and let Hocevar pass him to the outside. Riggs will do the same. They're still separated by a truck length.
Here they come off turn number 4, looking for the white flag. Carson Hocevar is the race leader, and he's got Lane Riggs all over the tailgate. 1 lap to go at Kansas.
Riggs with a huge run off 4. He's going to dive to the bottom into turn number 1. Hocevar tries to squeeze him. He can't get it done. Riggs up the banking. He gets into Hocevar. They're both in the wall off turn 2. And both of them continue, but they're both in the fence.
They still are racing down the back straightaway. Hocevar and Riggs separated by a truck length. Here comes William Byron. They all make their way into 4.
Here they come for the final time, racing back to the checkered flag. Lane Riggs has one more shot at Carson Hocevar. He won't be able to take it. Carson Hocevar will hang on to win the Heart of Healthcare 200 at Kansas. Lane Riggs will finish in 2nd. William Byron 3rd. Corey Heim will walk away from this race in 4th, and Gio Ruggiero will finish in 5th. Oh my, what a finish tonight in Kansas. Let's go to pit road.
What a finish, and Brian Patty, the crew chief. Sometimes you're just laughing like that. What a great run and what a wild finish, Brian.
Yeah, he's really talented. Glad to have him in our trucks. Everyone Aspire and all of our partners back at the house. It's pretty crazy.
That's for sure, absolutely. That's Brian Patty, the winning crew chief, here for Carson Hocevar.
Yeah, Carson Hocevar.